Hey, what's up, y'all?
Friday, gotta get down on Friday.
Correct. Entirely correct. It is Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. Welcome in the Rob Brown Show on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Welcome in. Good to be with you.
It's your final Friday for a while.
It is my final Friday.
Actually, it's my final Friday for a while,
yeah,
too.
that's also true.
Yeah.
That's also true. You're welcome, or I'm sorry, whichever is more appropriate. It is my final Friday of the month of September, as a matter of fact. That is correct. I will be here. We will be here Monday and Tuesday of next week. And then I am off on Wednesday, headed down to the Sunshine State of Florida to get hitched up, put on the old ball and chain next Saturday. And then I'll be off the week after that for it's not really the honeymoon per se. It's kind of like a knockoff honeymoon, right? Like, we're not doing the big one.
All right, hold on. I heard you telling someone last night, I don't remember, about all the things you were doing, which you have told me bits and pieces. It's a honeymoon by most people's standards, okay? It is. All the stuff that you're going to do, that's really a honeymoon. I get you grew up in Florida, but still, it's a honeymoon.
I don't think it is.
Well, you need to go to some exotic place. Last I checked, Florida, kind of exotic. Still never been there, but I've heard that it's exotic. So,
exotic is an interesting word to choose about Florida. In terms of the meth houses and people bare hand hunting alligators and that, sure.
Okay, the alligators thing, still interesting. The meth thing, that would be more like home if you're from here. But there are palm trees. There's the very nice beaches, as you've told me about. The water seems to be really blue. Isn't that exotic?
Maybe it's not to me because I grew up on it. But no, I hear exotic. And I think palm trees existing does not make a thing exotic to me.
Well, you didn't grow up in Ohio. That's very exotic to me.
That's fair. That's fair.
And the closest to palm trees I've seen is palmetto trees, which I guess is a derivative. It's kind of in the family, but I've never seen an actual palm tree before. So to me, that's exotic.
See, and again, like I said, maybe it's just because I grew up around it, but no, Florida is not exotic. You
are downplaying something that most people would love to have as their honeymoon. That's all I'm saying.
I do not disagree. What we are doing is pretty dope. We'll be at a beach house. We will get there on Wednesday. We have it till the following Wednesday.
So beach house is not exotic?
No, that's not what exotic means.
What's it mean?
Just because there's sand and water doesn't make a thing exotic.
So you just think exotic is a description of women, but exotic is also a description of a place.
Anything. I'm not saying there aren't places that are exotic. I'm saying St. Augustine, Florida is not exotic. Exotic is like exuding characteristics and qualities that are dramatically outside of the norm.
40-year-old pale woman from Minnesota. That's
right,
exotic.
But you understand, I'm not that. So it's not exotic to me. I've been to St. Augustine 50 times. I used to live in Jacksonville, which was like a 25-minute drive from St. Augustine. What we are it's a fun vacation. I am very excited about it. After we have the spot in St. Augustine until the Wednesday after we get married. So we'll be in St. Augustine until the 25th. The day of the 25th, we're going to the plan right now. The plan right now is the day after the 25th. We're going to drive over to Orlando. We're going to do a day at Epcot. If you've never been to Epcot, spectacular place. That Epcot is the park where they have the World Showcase, which is like a little mock-up of all these different countries from around the world. And you go from country to country, and they have like food and drink from that country, and they have people that work in the park that are brought over to work from that country to give it like an authentic experience. All right, so like you go to Germany, and they have a German beer hall that puts on these German beer hall style shows, and you go in and drink big steins of beer. And then you go to You go to Mexico. Mexico's incredible. They have this big old Aztec temple that you walk in, and there's a big Mexican restaurant and tequila bar inside of it. And when you're inside of this temple, it's set up on the inside as if you're at a like a Mexican Dia de la Muerte festival, street festival, right? And then you go to America, and it's got a mock-up of Philly's Independence Hall, and you eat turkey legs and drink Yingling and Sam Adams. And then you go to France, and they have a big French market cafe, and you drink wine and eat crepes and pastries. Like, you get to do all the things from these different countries.
By the way, I need to apologize because I looked up the meaning of exotic, and one of the things that says, what does it mean to be exotic? Very different, strange, or unusual. So since you're from there, it's not any of those things to you. But for that 40-year-old pale lady from Minnesota, it would be very exotic.
Well, I'm not marrying a 40-year-old pale lady.
No, and I
Minnesota.
wasn't implying that. Okay, I was not implying that.
I am pretty. I
would not want to make her angry.
Look who showed up on the stream and decided to pitch in on the wordplay debate. Captain America Chris Evans down the hall. Appreciate his showing up there. And also, you're a dirty son of a gun, is what you are. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, how are you coming in here? Because I don't see your car, but it is dark outside.
You do know the internet works from everywhere.
No, that was I was calling him out.
Oh, okay. For not being here.
Yeah, but he
checks out.
He may have a new schedule. I don't know.
So, this is the last Friday for me in the month of September. I will be out the next 2 Friday. Got to get down on Fridays when we all return here on October 30th. Life will go back to normal, and good news for all of you.
It won't go back to normal because you'll be married.
I mean, that will be normal then, right? There will be a new normal, but normal nonetheless. And when I get back, the good news for you is I am out of vacation days for the entire damn year. So you won't miss me anymore in 2024. Yeah, I know. It's worth it though. Like, if you're gonna burn them up, this is a pretty good way.
It's not bad.
It's the best way to do it. What do we got? We got the Bills and the Dolphins last night, and we will talk about the game, and we will talk about the Bills who won that game with defense last night.
Hey, when are we going to make fun of Cole? Are we going to wait till we're gonna wait till it's a little bit later so we can make fun of the incident?
I think so. I think that's
we need to make sure people are up.
You know what? No, we're just going to do it now. Listen, and let me get my own struggle out of the way. Yesterday was the worst day of bowling in my life. I bowled a 75 and a 69. Okay, I quit. Do you understand?
He absolutely quit.
I quit, and not even because Lonzo's told you the stories before that I'll get throw my hat Spurrier style mad. All right, I'll get cuss in front of your children mad because I'm having a bad day of bowling. I'll go to the bar and pound a shot of tequila mad at being a bad bowler because or at least I used to not be one. Yesterday, I got accept my fate mad. I was embarrassed. I literally I didn't even finish my second game.
Dude, I got to say, I started to snap a picture, but I didn't. You were Kyler Murray pouting for a little bit.
I was mad
after the 69. It was,
I threw a 75 to open, and I'm like, all right, it's the first game I've played since last year, whatever. And then I lined up the second one. Going into the 10th, I had a 69, and I was like, nope, I just put the ball in the gutter and rolled it down there because if I'm going to finish with a score, I'm going to finish with a meme. I quit. I literally said nothing. I sat down, I took off the bowling shoes, I put my regular sneaks back on. I walked the bowling shoes over to the desk lady, and then I went to the bartender and I went, give me a a vodka water right now, and don't talk to me. Like I was in red. I left. Not.
You know what? This is funny because Diesel's like, where'd Rob go? I said he went to drink.
Yeah.
So I was right.
You were right and wrong. What I did was I walked over. I got it wasn't not the bartender. I got the young lady who was waiting on us. I got her attention. I actually got a vodka Red Bull. That's what I got. Sugar free. All right.
I was wondering why there was a Red Bull there.
I got a vodka Red Bull. She brought it to me. I sat down on the little bench. I drank it. I got up. I put my keys on my pants. I walked. The only reason that you saw me standing around for a minute was because at that point the big boss had showed up, and I'm like, all right, well, I can't just Irish goodbye when I know he's here. So I walked over there. I talked to him and Tori for like 3 to 4 minutes, and then I left. I just walked out the front. I didn't say goodbye to anybody. I didn't tell anybody, I hope you have a nice day, because I didn't. I hope everybody else's day sucked. I walked out, and I want you to know how mad I was. I got up, I walked out. When I was going outside, there was a car. I don't know if you saw it. If you did, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about before I get to it. There was somebody who parked in the lane across from the door, and I'm not exaggerating. Half of their car was hanging out of the back of the spot into the road. Okay? Now, and when I say half the car, I'm not talking about like the rear wheels back. I mean, the car was parked in the parking lot with the driver's side door halfway out of the lane back into the road.
Do you think it was one of ours?
I have no idea.
There weren't
I don't
a lot
care.
of people there yesterday, so the majority of the people there were ours.
In that spot, 9 out of 10 times, I am going to, you're hanging the bumper out, whatever. 9 out of 10 times, I'm going back inside and being like, hey, guys, because at this point, it's a danger. Half their car is in the road, right? I'd go back inside and I'd go, hey, there's a car out there that's parked halfway in, halfway out of the spot. The ass end of this big old SUV is hanging out into the road. If somebody's not paying attention, they're going to hit it. You might want to like put a PA. Nope. You know what I did? I pulled out of the spot and I went, I hope somebody hits that car. I hope somebody slams into that car. I hope somebody wrecks that car.
Okay, so this didn't end the way it could have, because it's like, I was so mad. I just slammed my car into that car. I showed them.
No, I still have car payments. I can't do that.
Okay. All right. And you just got your thing
and I just got it back.
Yeah.
So that's how freaking ticked off I was. But I will say, I still didn't have the worst day of anybody there. Okay? I didn't, because when we showed up, Cole Bryson, who had to leave early because he had to go, we had the Burns game got moved to last night, so Cole had to bail early. Cole shows up. We all peer pressured him into playing with
Yeah,
us.
because he wasn't going to bowl. He was not going to bowl. He was using it as an excuse because apparently he knew how bad he was at it. So you were right about him being really good at, fishing and hunting and all those kind of things, but not being a good bowler.
I usually am. So he wasn't going to bowl. We peer pressured him into it. He goes, he gets his shoes, he comes back, he takes off his sneaks, he puts them under the little table in the little cubby hole, he puts on his bowling shoes.
Before you get to that, make sure you mention the what Odie did. Odie put bumpers.
Oh,
on.
I'm cutting. No, we're
okay,
no.
I thought you went right to shoes, so I thought you were skipping
because
it.
that's the best part of the day.
Okay, all right, I'm going to let you finish.
Best part of the day.
All right.
He comes over, he bowls, he gets done bowling, he says, all right, guys, I got to go.
But you're not talking about the fact that he used bumpers. So if he comes in today.
So when I said 2 seconds ago, I'm going to come to the bumpers.
Okay, all right, because I just don't want
because
him
I got to make a whole thing about that so that they give him hell on his show.
Okay, all right.
All right. So he takes off his shoes, he slides them under the cubby. He goes, he bowls like one game. He goes to leave and he walks out. And probably 12 minutes later, Diesel taps me on the shoulder and he goes, should we text him now or should we let him get to Greer? And I went, why are we texting him? He just left.
No, at first. I mean, I hate to be the guy. First,
all right, tell the story.
First, Diesel goes, are those Cole shoes?
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, he did.
He taps me on the shoulder. All I got was he taps me on the shoulder.
Rob gets really focused on other people when he's having a conversation with someone else, which I think he was doing. And Diesel's like, are those Cole shoes? And I looked in there, I was like, yeah. And then we're like trying to decide if we should tell him. And then he let you know also. And I said that there's no way he'll notice, that he would go through the entire Burns game and not notice that he was wearing bowling shoes.
Diesel taps me on the shoulder and he goes, should we text him now? Now, in fairness, it makes sense because you guys pointed it out. I wasn't checked in for that. He goes, should we let him get to Greer or should we text him now? And I went, about what? And he points and I went, oh no. And I said, Diesel, you are aware that the guy wearing our station polo shirt is about to be walking around. It's Thursday night. You know there's going to be folks there. Is about to be walking around a high school football stadium with one of the premier matchups in the area, is going to be walking around that with our polo on and random ass generic bowling shoes. And Diesel goes, yeah, so we should totally let him, right?
Yeah, because no one's going to see you. I get that you think people notice shoes a lot. Maybe they do. What nobody would have noticed. The guys in the
Bull
booth,
crap.
guys in the booth would not have noticed. No one would have noticed. He definitely would not have noticed, and he said so himself.
He very clearly didn't notice because he was halfway to Greer.
He said someone texted him.
Me. It was me.
Wow.
He
I just
was.
couldn't- So who's more of a friend? The guy who texts him to let him know, or the guys who let him go? Because we were going to let him go just for the joke of it.
This man.
One of us would have grabbed his shoes and brought them here.
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
I can't have a guy wearing the polo that I also wear of the organization I also represent, showing up to the football game, rocking knockoff second store bowling shoes and walking around like that's totally normal. It's not. It's not. And before you say nobody noticed his shoes, how'd you know they were Kohl's shoes? Because you noticed them because they were bright orange and blue.
No, because Diesel pointed out, are those Kohl's shoes? That's how I knew. Okay.
But you knew they were Kohl's shoes, or else you would have said, well, I don't know if they're Kohl's shoes. Yes,
first of
people
all, I
know the
wouldn't have
shoes.
said it that way. Second of all, process of elimination. I know my shoes. I know your shoes. No, there wasn't that many people bowling on. There were 5 of us, dude.
All right, listen, here's the point. The point is, I was not
You don't
about
play games where you saw problems, apparently.
I was not about to let my guy, not because I wouldn't let Cole walk around like a dork in bowling shoes.
And we were. And so there's always that guy in the group going, yeah, but I mean, Mr. Practical, you would think it wouldn't be Rob. You would think it would be me that would do it. But no, I thought it would be hilarious if he went through the whole game. I wanted to see if he would make it through the entire game and home. I don't think he would have noticed till this morning when he got up. I don't think he would have noticed at all if you hadn't told him. So you spoiled it.
I don't care. My guy was going to what I
That's the
assume
point.
was going
Your
to
guy,
be.
you're the only one he gave a hug to, too. I just want to.
No, I took one. That's what I do. My dude was going to go. And by the way, my dude is the same as just saying dude. It's just an expression. My guy. But I do love Cole. I do love Cole. Cole is my guy.
Yeah, me too.
Cole's
And that's
my guy.
why I think it would have been funny if he went through the entire thing with the bowling shoes on.
Again, if he wasn't going to I assume well-populated, well-attended high school football
You're
game.
right. This
I
station,
swear to God, I'm going to get this sentence out.
this station being associated with bowling is a downgrade. No, it's not.
No, do you understand there's a difference between we're bowling and this clown just showed up to a football game in bowling shoes like it's totally normal footwear. Totally normal footwear. That's just what people just wear Velcro strap bowling shoes like they're normal
I
shoes.
mean, you can look at Cole and think that he doesn't know how to tie his shoes. You absolutely could do that.
Okay, so here's my take. My guy, wearing a polo I also wear frequently in public, was going to a football game that is being played by a team that, I'm not there anymore, but I got a 2-year run with that team. People there know us, to represent the station I work for in front of thousands of people. I'm not letting him show up in Velcro shoes and have everybody go, is that Rob Brown's coworker? Is that Cole Bryson that works with Rob Brown showing up wearing cheap bowling shoes?
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I made it about me.
Okay.
100%.
Way to go, you.
I am not having one of my peers show up at an important football contest rocking Velcro bowling shoes. It's not happening.
What if it would have been Mark Ryan?
I would have totally let that happen. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Urban.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'll stay right there. We're going to talk about it when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
So what's the right move here? Would you guys have told Cole? Would you have been Rob Brown, or would you have been me and Diesel? I still maintain, and I bet Cole will confirm this on the air if he's asked about it, that he would have worn the shoes the entire time. And I want to believe that you who are up this early. By the way, shout out, Kevin. I was wondering where you were. It's a good time
football's back.
to be well.
The Bills are back.
The Bills are back. I'm willing to believe that the majority of you would have let Cole go and never said a word. But not all of us are fashionistas like Rob Brown. I mean, obviously, I'm not. Thank you, Joe.
If Cole was going on a date, I 100% would have just brought his shoes here today and not said a word about it. I'd have waited for that text at like 10 o'clock last night that went, tell me one of you guys got my shoes.
All right, here's the thing. If Cole was going on a date, I would have told him. That's a totally different story. This, no one would have noticed.
You're so wrong, dude.
In a stadium full of
Why do you think people spend hundreds of dollars on shoes if nobody looks at shoes? Everybody looks at shoes. Maybe you don't look at shoes.
I don't think everybody looks at shoes.
Everybody looks at shoes.
I don't think everybody does. Well, you just pointed out I don't, so that's not everybody.
Okay, everybody but you looks at shoes.
That's not true.
This is why when you go buy a new suit, the first thing you do is get a good pair of shoes that go with the suit, because it is 100% a part of the overall look. So my man was showing up, repping the station in public at a well-attended event in Velcro bowling shoes. I can't have it. Can't have it. Can't have it. That's a reflection on you, Lonzo.
No, it's not.
That we work with somebody who wears Velcro bowling shoes as regular shoes.
The reflection is the snitch over there who couldn't let the joke go and had to spoil the fun for everybody. I mean, it was funny till someone had to tell him. That's why you lose games all the time, because of stuff like that.
Wow.
You were having a bad day, and I saw the the bowling thing.
Bowl again.
You're having a bad day, and so you wanted to spoil our fun. That's okay. We should do a poll for everyone who's here right now. How many of the people who are here right now would have told them? My compatriots over on Word, who you think are real stiff, ain't none of them would have told them. They would have thought I was hilarious. Rise Guys would not have told them. Honka Tom would not have told them. You're the only one. It's a lonely island.
Had I shown up at an event that I was supposed to be a figure at, wearing shoes, I first off, had I noticed, I'd have stopped and bought new shoes.
Chris, don't call me Zoe.
Chris, don't call him anything but Zoe the rest of the day. Just today.
Chris is busy. He's not going to see me today.
Chris, come on down to the office right now and call him Zoe.
He wouldn't want to be seen on screen in front of his new boss. You don't want to do that, because that would look like he's lollygagging. Don't want any lollygagging.
I can't tell anybody what to do. Somebody's got to tell Tua it's time. It's time to hang him up. It's scary at this point. It's not fun when it gets to the point, and it is at that point. It probably wasn't last night. I'll keep it a buck. I never even really thought about it last night, right? All I thought about last night was I'm betting the under in this game. I called the Bills to cover on BetMGM tonight on Tuesday. I talked about it. Yada, yada, yada. I was excited about what I thought was a big, maybe not the most competitive, but impactful game. I mean, I did think it would be competitive. Why wouldn't you? You got a team last year that ended up as a wild card team. And they ended up as a wild card team because the other team beat them in the final week and kept them from winning the division. So they had to go on the road to play Kansas City. There's a little bad blood there. These two teams, I wouldn't say they have a rivalry, because Josh Allen has now beat the Miami Dolphins 12 out of the last 13 times he's played them. Or I should say Buffalo's beat Miami 12 out of the last 13 times they've played them.
Josh Allen's undefeated on Thursdays.
I believe that is correct. So I expected this to be an entertaining game one way or the other. And I never once thought, we've been far enough removed that I never thought like, oh, yeah, that's right, Tua's got head issues. And then third quarter, he runs the ball. Instead of sliding, he goes headfirst across the first down to gain line and takes a shot from Damar Hamlin. Not dirty, not poorly executed. It was just a football tackle. It was just a football move. And to his head, slams into Damar Hamlin's chest. He goes backwards. It bounces off the ground. And once again, Tua goes into that fencer's pose. His hand goes out with it flexed out and open. He ends up very clearly losing consciousness and is immediately removed from the game with a concussion. That can't happen anymore. And I like Tua a lot. I've interviewed Tua in years gone by when he was at Alabama. The dude is genuinely a great guy. He's a good kid. He's a good human being. In fact, Josh Allen went on the post-game wrap-up show and was handing out a ton of compliments to Tua Tagovailoa just about the guy that he is. And I can echo those sentiments. I've had interactions with the guy before. He's a stellar human being. I can't watch a guy get his noggin scrambled anymore like that. It's not a good look.
Well, I didn't see it till just this moment because I knew about it. But Chris Nowinski, PhD, you remember him?
Yep, sure do, from last year.
No, Chris Nowinski, former WWE neurosurgeon, said Tua suffered a traumatic brain injury on the play. No question, his right arm shows the fencing posture. And you can see it. I mean, it's just, yeah. And according to him, he can't play next game for sure. I agree with you. I think, and there's a reason why Andrew Luck is trending now, because Andrew Luck walked away. We've seen other people walk away because of concussions. I believe Troy Aikman and some other famous quarterbacks, and it seems to be quarterbacks more than anybody that have to walk away from the. You don't want to see anyone do damage to themselves where, I mean, they cannot function the rest of their life. And this obviously is a problem, and it sucks, but, you know, choose your family, choose being able to recognize your kids, all that kind of stuff that can be taken away from you with another hit.
Yeah, I think we're at a spot now for Tua Tagovailoa where I don't like that somebody may be forced by circumstances outside of their control to lose something that they love, to not be able to do something that they love. But dude, you can't because you'll lose everything else if you don't. I mean, I'm.
Does there come a time of intervention though? I mean, it's up to the family, but is it up to the league at some point to go, hey, you can't play anymore because this is a danger to your well-being?
If Tua is a family member of mine, this morning we are having a conversation. I, as your family member, brother, uncle, dad, son, whatever, I don't want you doing this anymore. And I would plaster the room in the multiple pictures of Tua KO'd on the ground doing the fencer's pose. I remember last year when Tua had the second KO spot. It was last year or year before, whenever it was, had the second KO spot where he was very clearly not okay. Chris Nowinski got big at that point. Because he is a former professional wrestler who has dedicated his life, become a neurosurgeon, studies this stuff, and his voice got real big at that point because he kind of started being the voice that told the fans the ugly truth about what was happening, and had a very brief online interaction with him about Tua. And he basically said, look, every time that you do this is not something where it's like you have this concussion and it does this much damage. And then you have another concussion and it doubles that damage. And then you have another concussion and it adds that same amount of damage. These things are as exponential. They add up. The more brain injuries you have, and getting knocked out is a brain injury. All right? It is a brain injury. You get KO'd. Your brain is, in fact, I got a, you know what? I got a clip, and I didn't know if there was going to be a spot for it. And it's kind of a long one. And we may play it later in the show, but Kylan Williams is a tight end in the league. And he did a 3-minute long social media post because Kylan Williams has elected to wear the Guardian cap in regular season games. This year is a year where the NFL has told players, if you would like to wear the Guardian cap in the regular season, and they went and they effectively have made Guardian caps, the padded caps that players can wear. They've made Guardian caps that have the team logos on them. So they just look, they're the same paint scheme as your normal football helmet. And they said you can wear them in the regular season. And Kylan Williams made a social media post where he said, I'm wearing one. And here's why. I want to be able to remember my kid's name. I want to be able to remember my wedding day. I don't want to deal with brain issue. The reason that being KO'd is a brain issue is because your brain floats inside of your head. There is fluid around the brain, and your brain floats around in that fluid. And so your brain, when your head moves in any direction, it sloshes around in the brain. And you're evolved for that to be a part of the natural process. But when your head is rocked by another player or by a punch to it or by falling down and hitting your noggin on the ground or whatever, when your head comes to a sudden, reckless stop, that brain, when it sloshes way forward and impacts the skull, it shuts off. That's what a knockout is. It's a protection device. It shuts off. And the more that happens...
Have you ever been concussed?
I am not aware of it, but I will also say that, and I know dating back earlier than me, because I ain't that old, is worse. I'll tell you right now, there was one day in particular that I remember where it was a rain workout day for the high school football team. So we were doing indoor drills, strength and conditioning indoors. And we had to do the monkey roll drill. You got 3 people, and the guy in the middle rolls over, and if you're on that side...
Isn't that the Oklahoma drill?
No, Oklahoma's drill is a contact drill.
Head.
Yeah.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Monkey drill.
Yeah,
you got 3 guys.
I always got stuck with the 350-pounders, and they always landed on me. It hurt.
You got 3 guys. They're laying on the ground, 1 in the middle, 2 on the outside. The guy in the middle rolls to the right. The guy on the right jumps over him, but then rolls to the left. The guy that's on the left jumps over him, rolls right. And you braid, right? So we were doing that one day, and it's one of the things I hate the most about me. I'm very susceptible to getting dizzy. If I spin in a chair too fast, I get dizzy to the point of nearly passing out. And this started in high school. So we did this drill. I did it like 4 or 5 times, and then I felt myself get dizzy. I stood up to take myself out of the drill, and I got so dizzy that I fell forward and I slammed my head into a helium tank that was in the corner of the field house. All right. I 100% should have been evaluated for a concussion because I went freaking forehead first into the thing, and I was knocked the bleep out. And you know what happened? John Arthur, our head coach and defensive lineman, our defensive line coach and assistant head coach, looked at me and told me to get my back in line to run the drill again. And I'm like, Coach, I'm not right. And he goes, I don't care. Get back in line. The answer is, yeah, this is a problem. And the reason I say that Tua Tagovailoa needs to be done. I'm sorry, I didn't say this till today. First time I've said it. But it needs to be done is so that stuff like that stops happening at lower levels of football, because it still does. I guarantee it. And there's somebody going, oh, you've got to tough it out. Nah, head injuries are not a spot. You can't make your brain stronger. All right? There's no workouts to make your noggin thicker. So it's a sad story. I hate it for Tua. But guys, got to be done, because I can't go through every time Tua gets a hand put on him wondering if this is the last hit where he remembers his name. It's scary, man. It just is. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Oh, that hurt.
So I have to come clean about something here. I have not been able to find the Ric Flair robe. I've been looking for the only option I have is to go buy like a cheap Party City BS robe, and I don't want to do that. I can't find a Ric Flair robe to wear, and it's killing me. So I may be doing it without the robe. I'm still going to do it. Just may not have the robe.
That sucks, Jacob. Sorry to hear that, but it's not surprising. And back then, I had similar experience to what Rob did in college. We were going through the chutes, and when you go through a chute, it's to make you fire out of your stance and stay low as a lineman. And my helmet was too loose, and I kept complaining about it, and they just didn't care. And I went through the chutes, and an All-American guard. His name was Eric. I'm not going to say his last name, although I do remember it. Hit me, and I woke up on the back of a golf cart. The second time. The first time, it shook me. I wasn't right. They yelled at me and told me to get back in line. I got back in line, and then the second time, he knocked me out. So their solution was to get me a helmet that was too tight after that. Also, nearly got knocked out from about 15 packs of RC Cola falling on my head. We were stripping the floor, and the pop guy, that's what I'm going to call him, he put some of the 15 packs halfway on a pop crate. So when I moved the pop crate, I didn't notice the entire stack falling until they started hitting me in the head. And all I could do was think in my mind was, don't let my face hit the ground. And so I did everything I could, but in doing that, I was so stunned I couldn't move out of the way. So they kept hitting me, and everything was slow for a really, really long time. And it's not good. And the place where I worked didn't want the insurance claim. So they kind of pressured me into not going to the hospital. But I was off for a couple days after that. I still worked. I mean, my head was off. It was an extended pack, Chris. Sometimes they give you some extra as incentive to buy it. Okay, when I came in, Wide Orbit, all the cells were in there, but they were all empty. There was nothing in it in any of the screens. I had never seen it like that before. So, I mean, there was nothing there. And so I thought about calling you, and instead I took Wide Orbit down and brought it. No, I mean telling. Yeah.
That is my job. I'm not done with the game, but wonderful move. Reports of the Buffalo Bills' demise may have been greatly exaggerated. Also, maybe not.
Well,
maybe not.
I owe an apology, I guess, because the Bills, they're 2-0. And I thought that they might be cooked. And the reason why I thought they might be cooked is because I don't believe in Josh Allen. But if he continues to win with the receiving core that he has right now, he might get a double Josh for me.
Josh Allen last night was effective. He only threw 19 passes, 13 of 19, 139 yards, 1 touchdown through the air. He also ran just 2 times for just 2 yards in this game. The
So
defense.
So you're saying I'm wrong?
I am saying giving credit in this game last night to Josh Allen is incorrect.
But it's like a starting pitcher. The pitcher is going to get credit for the win, even though good defense could have been played by everybody out there.
You have heard me say a gazillion times that wins and losses should not be a quarterback stat. You should never hold wins and losses individually against the quarterback. There will be games that a quarterback is just bad.
But are you okay with wins and losses in baseball?
I don't love it, but I think you have to keep in mind in baseball, more often than not always. Like and this has been an Atlanta thing all year because as I've talked about, Max Fried is 9-9 as a starting pitcher for Atlanta. And like of those 9 he's lost, 5 of them were like 1-0 losses where nobody was hitting the baseball. He gave up 1 run, but he had to take the L because somebody's got to take the L. But when it comes to football, there's a reason that we don't keep wins and losses as a quarterback stat, even though fans want to chalk it up as one. And when I say that, it goes to both directions. You will notice I don't say don't keep losses as a quarterback stat. I say wins and losses as a quarterback stat. And the reason why is I'm not putting this W on Josh Allen last night. Josh Allen didn't go out and do anything special to earn a dub for the Buffalo Bills last night. Buffalo's defense with 3 interceptions went out and did this last night. Jamarcus Ingram with a pair of picks, including a pick 6, and Christian Benford with the other. They won this game for the Buffalo Bills. The offense for the Bills racked up like 250 yards total, right? Like they had 139 on the air with 1 touchdown from Josh Allen, who had a 79.5 QBR, which is the definition of average. I think the average QBR is like 77. So he was remarkably average. He was efficient. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't try to force it. He also did not actually really not at all. He only had 2 rushes. Did not try to do too much and play hero ball with the legs. Now, of course, they didn't really have to because midway through the second quarter, it was very clear that Buffalo was if not going to win this game, they at least put themselves in a real good position and created a world where Josh Allen really didn't have to do all that much. But when I say wins and losses are not a quarterback stat, it is wins and losses that you don't hold against the quarterback. I don't give you guys know I'm a Josh Allen stan. I'm a big fan. He's arguably my second favorite quarterback in the NFL to watch behind only Lamar Jackson, and I don't even know if that's entirely true. I may actually enjoy Josh Allen more than Lamar Jackson entertainment-wise.
I find this last minute very disrespectful. So does someone else.
I don't care. You'll have to deal with it. Sorry. Go win another Lombardi and shut me up. All right? But for now, not everything's about Patty. I'm talking about Josh Allen. Who, so that we're clear, I do give the credit for the win last week against Arizona to. Josh Allen won them the game against Arizona. Josh Allen did not win them this game last night. The defense last night was unbelievable. James Cook in the run game was very good last night. James Cook had that long touchdown run that to me felt like that one put the game away. When Cook went off for that, whatever it was, 49-yard touchdown run, soon as he got into the end zone and Miami was just missing, like, all right, this game's over. This game's cooked. There are 2 reactions I had to this game. Number one, as I mentioned, the demise of the Buffalo Bills may have been a little bit premature and exaggerated. There are still things I am concerned about. I don't know that. He's a good little player, but I don't know that I really trust a team where Khalil Shakir is your leading receiver in both receptions and yardage. Keon Coleman had 0 catches for 0 yards last night. That's your top draft pick. That's your top draft pick. Now, he is a rook. He's a rook. I'm going to give him time to develop like I am every other rook. But man, it's like they were, and in fairness, they didn't really have to lean on the run or on the passing game. That's why maybe it's a different story if this game's, 21-20 going into the fourth quarter. Maybe Josh Allen's got to keep to the air. Maybe the Coleman numbers come up. Dalton Kincaid had 4 grabs. MVS had 0. Keon Coleman had 0. Mac Hollins, had 0. Like, they stayed on the ground, and they should have stayed on the ground. They rushed the ball 26 times last night. They threw it 19. Is this to say that, Buffalo's still here? Buffalo's still... I don't know. I came into this season saying and maintaining that I think the championship window for the Buffalo Bills has probably closed, with the caveat that I absolutely do put Josh Allen into a category with Mahomes of, if you got this guy, any game's winnable. If you got this guy who can do what this guy can do, any game is winnable. But they didn't need him to do it last night. And if Buffalo can do that more often than not, they're going to be in good shape. I just don't think there's a world where Buffalo's defense is averaging 3 turnovers a game. All right. The second part of the thought that I had last night was, I think Miami's in trouble. I think certainly in trouble if Tua Tagovailoa is going to be done. And we talked a little bit about this in the last segment. I feel like somebody's got to go to Tua Tagovailoa today and go, you got to hang him up, fella. You got to hang him up. You can't do this anymore. All right. You can't do it where a basic, not anything crazy, right? Nothing over what Damar Hamlin did when he hit Tua wasn't outrageous. It honestly, frankly, it wasn't even that violent of a tackle, right? It was a pretty standard tackle. If Tua Tagovailoa is going to be missing any length of time, and he does, I think he's got, it's week 2 and that stinks. You had high aspirations and expectations this year, and that stinks. But there's a spot where you got to shut it down. And to me, that spot was when Tua was KO'd on the field last night. If that guy's going to step away, I think this team's in trouble. And the problematic thing is, however you feel about that aspect of it, Mike McDaniel, who I love. I think he's OOU. I think he's one of us. I think he's a big nerd. I think he's a dork. I think he's kind of lived in that world for a minute, and that's great. He's a big dork, and I'm good with it. But the guy's also 0-2 in the playoffs. He's taken that team twice. He's done nothing with them twice. They got blown out last year. And again, of course he did. They were playing in -4-degree temperatures in the house of the best home field advantage, arguably, in the National Football League. My expectations weren't even really a win last year for Miami. That'd have been a tough win for any team in the league to go to Kansas City in that round and try to get Patrick Mahomes in -4-degree weather. Not ideal. So I am more concerned about the Miami Dolphins than I am confident in the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills are good. I am not trying to take away from the organization and the team that Buffalo has built this year, but you gave away your wide receivers. You do have a good defense, and I was very glad to see last night the defense that Buffalo trotted out there. Von Miller is Von Miller. I loved his quote at one point. They said talking to Von Miller, they said, what are you working on this year? Like, what is going to be your thing this year? And he said, separation off the snap, right? Like, I need to get off the snap. I need to be in the backfield ASAP. And they said, why? And he said, because have you seen these big ass offensive linemen? And I'm in my mid-30s. I'm not trying to get in a fist fight with these guys. I want to beat them to the punch. And Von Miller was doing that. Maybe Buffalo's defense can carry them. Maybe Buffalo's defense can get them where they want to be this year. But that was what I don't want to do is sit here and pretend like what we saw last night was a dominant offensive display from the Buffalo Bills, because it wasn't. Josh Allen was effective, but bland. The run game, again, we talked about James Cook, 78 yards, 49 of those came on one play. A play, by the way, that Miami's defense was busted. They beat a busted defense in that play. They beat a defensive line that was out of position. a defensive line that was missing a man in the middle, right where James Cook happened. If they'd have run that same play to the other side, James Cook would not have been finishing today with 78 yards and a touch. He'd have been finishing today with 35 yards and no touches. I'm not sold on Buffalo. I am not I think they're a good team, but I'm not saying I am out of the mindset that their window remains open. I don't think it does. I think they have an opportunity to win every single week that Josh Allen is there. But if you are a team that relies on, we can win any game our quarterback plays if he goes out there and does special things, if he goes out there and he is electric and he does these, if that is what you are relying on, you have a problem. And I will go back to Patrick Mahomes. Does Kansas City have a chance to win every game they play because Patrick Mahomes is out there? Yes. But do they ask Patrick Mahomes to do it by himself? No. They keep reloading him with weapons. Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, Isaiah Pacheco, Xavier Worthy. They made draft picks to make sure they got Xavier Worthy because they figured adding the speed is going to impact this offense. It's worked. I don't think, and this is why I've said, I know my man's Kevin's back in the chat. Good to have the Bills guy back. I know my friends in the Bills club that listen every morning because they reach out. I hope that my invitation to come to the watering hole and watch ball with y'all isn't rescinded, but I have a big problem with the Buffalo Bills right now. And the big problem is I think you're wasting the career of one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Sincerely. I think it's Mahomes. I think it's Jackson. I think it's Josh Allen. And I think you're wasting the career of Josh Allen right now because in a spot where this team should have been bending over backwards to do like Kansas City does for Patrick Mahomes and get better around the QB. Does anybody think that? Zoe, is there any world in which you would say that this Buffalo Bills team is more talented than last year's Buffalo Bills team?
Not that I can see. But they are, last I checked, undefeated.
They are 2-0. They're the only 2-0 team as of today. That's spectacular. Just like the Gamecocks are the number 1 team in the SEC today. Print the T-shirts.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of, a lot of college football coming up in the next hour. We'll make our picks later as well. The point here is I really want Josh Allen. I want the Buffalo Bills to win a Super Bowl. I want it for Josh Allen. I want it to listen to Lonzo's head explode the next day. I want it for a lot of reasons. All right.
It wouldn't. But past history shows that they can't do that. So I'm not really that concerned.
I want it to happen for a lot of reasons. But yes, I would be lying to you to say I'm not a little bit bummed out by Buffalo. And yes, it was a dominating win, 31-10. Felt good for the Bills fans last night. You didn't win because of your offense. You won because your defense had a friggin' day. Are you going to rely on them to have a friggin' day every week? You're going to rely on them to pick off Patrick Mahomes 3 times? Lamar Jackson 3 times? I'm not. Derek Carr 3 times? They're not picking off the elite of the elite. All right? It's not happening. So we'll see where it goes. We'll talk more about it as the show rolls on. College football in the next hour. Lonzo pleasures your ear holes with a sports flash right now.
Good luck cleaning this board off if my head were to explode. The Atlanta Braves will start a 4-game series against the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight in Atlanta. Atlanta currently sits 1 full game back of the New York Mets for the final spot, with the Mets beginning a 3-game series at division-leading Philadelphia. First pitch in Atlanta is set for 7:20 with rookie Spencer Schwellenbach dueling with Landon Knack. The attorney representing former Clemson and current Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson has told the media that a meeting is being scheduled with the NFL to discuss the most recent charge of sexual impropriety. Tony Busby told reporters that the woman filing the report has 2 additional witnesses and a videotape to confirm her accusations. The Browns have declined to comment on the situation. Tune in tomorrow at 12:30 as the Furman Paladins take on the Stetson Hatters. It's Furman versus Stetson right here on your home for Paladins football. That's us, the fan, upstate. What, the board or my head, Chris?
I was mad that I both lost the game and how you made me lose it. Phenomenal. And
My condolences on her loss.
that's okay. I went back into the lab and began scheming up the next
good.
way to make you lose the game. I'll give it a little while.
Good.
Give it a little while.
That's fine. Fine. I was my biggest concern. Like I said, I hoped that you would make it all the way to Florida.
For those of you on the stream who don't know what we're talking about, Chris Evans and I for like 2 years now have been playing the game. And if you don't know about the game,
You just lost.
you just lost the game.
My apologies in advance.
Yeah, none from me.
Why are you apologizing for
Taking
winning?
everybody down.
I mean,
So we've been finding new and
This
creative
is really
ways
about Rob.
to make each other lose the game over the years I've worked here. Yesterday evening, I got home. My fiance was very mad because there's a magnet on the back of the Bronco that says you just lost the game, and it made her lose the game for the first time in 10 years. And she was real mad that she lost the game because of that. I did not know. I've been driving around for 2 days with a magnet on the back of my car that says you just lost the game. Which is great because it also means that I've been sitting in traffic making a lot of people lose the game. But it's the most creative way that either of us has made the other lose the game so far.
Totally worth it.
and much like Cole's shoes, I didn't tell Rob.
See, that's an appropriate place.
Uh-huh.
If Chris put a sticker on my back that said you just lost the game and you would send me somewhere in a professional setting,
Right.
that's a
He's
different
media day.
right. That's a different setting.
I still don't have a problem with that.
I know.
I don't. Pranks are not meant to be nice. They're pranks.
Can't affect the station.
It wouldn't have.
Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown.
Would you like a hug? I mean, you probably don't want one from me right now, but I mean, I could arrange a hug from the guy who just left the room.
No, me and Cap are square. We're good. If you don't know what we're talking about, and you don't.
You just got mad pushing the button.
No, I got mad because my computer is being a DA right now. And I'm very frustrated by it.
All the more reason to get him back in here. Would you like me to send him an email?
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're good. He's got his coming. He's got his coming. Chris Evans stuck a magnet on the back of the Bronco that says you just lost the game. And I've been driving around with it on my car for apparently 2 damn full days now without recognizing it, which I don't back into parking spots. So that makes sense. And it was only discovered yesterday evening by my fiance, who then got mad at me because she lost the game. And has not lost the game for years.
It is your fault that she lost, because if you would have found it before then and taken it off your car, but you have decided to leave it on your
I'm
car.
leaving it on now.
Which means so you made her lose.
I am going to lose the game on a regular basis, but so is everyone who drives around me in traffic and her. You're all going down.
Okay, so I don't understand the game completely, but if you were to take the magnet off your car and then put it back on, then technically you have placed it there, so then you wouldn't be able to lose the game, right?
No, that's not how the game works.
So if you write it down and then you read it, you lost?
The game is you lose when you think about the game. That's the game. When you think about the game, you have lost the game. And you must announce that you have lost the game. And if you think about the game, the only appropriate thing to do, my favorite part of the game is if you lose the game, you take down everybody else by telling them that you lost the game, which makes them think about the game, which makes them lose the game.
All right. So in that vein, though, in order to make someone else lose the game, you have to think about the game. And you're saying if you think about the game, you lose the game.
Correct.
So making someone else lose the game, you're losing the game because you have to think about it to make them lose the game.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Correct. I don't know how to. There's no other way. There's no other way to explain it. That's how you explain it. That's the game. And yes. Chris got me in the most creative way that I've ever lost the game. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. And he's getting it back. All right. We got a lot to get to. We got to go through the college football weekend upcoming, get to our picks. We got the audio blitz coming up here in an hour. Some of the best audio that we found across social media over the last 24 hours and more, all coming up on the show. But it's 7:03, almost 7:04 in the morning. You're ticking ever closer to having to get to work, having to get logged in, having to fire those email replies back off, having to start work on that project, and having to pretend like you care about work when we are 24 hours away from it being college football Saturday. That's okay. Because you know what you get to do? You get to take a break. You get to walk down the hallway. You get to go hang out with your coworkers, and you get to talk about sports. And if you're going to talk about sports, you got to know what's going on. And if you got to know what's going on, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
Friday, Friday, gotta get down on Friday. No.
Here we go. Welcome to the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It's the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet, top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office this AM and start talking sports. When you do, gather around the water cooler. This is what you will be talking about. Let us begin with item number 1. As it will be for the foreseeable future, because it's football season, my dudes and my dudettes. Friday morning's Water Cooler Cheat Sheet begins with the box score from Thursday night's NFL game. Josh Allen and his Bills knock off the Miami Dolphins 31-10. Your final, the Bills have now defeated the Dolphins 12 of the last 13 times that these two teams have gotten together. Enough times that even I would say, yeah, it's not so much a rivalry right this very second. Josh Allen, 13 of 19, a $139, and a tutty through the air for a 79.5 QBR, the definition of average. It was the run game. James Cook, 11 carries, 78 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. And the defense that carried the day for Buffalo. 3 picks last night of Tua Tagovailoa. Jamarcus Ingram had 2 of them, one of them a pick 6. Christian Benford had the other. 3 INTs for the Buffalo Bills defense. But the story of the game, undoubtedly, Tua Tagovailoa left the game in the 3rd quarter with his 4th diagnosed concussion in the past 5 years. He had 1 in his final season with the University of Alabama. He had 2 in a single season, and now he suffered his 4th diagnosed last night. That does not take into consideration any other head injuries that he may have suffered that were undiagnosed. Tagovailoa was running the football for a first down, went head first across the line to gain, and was met by safety Damar Hamlin, who hit him in the head, not intentionally, not maliciously. It was just a football play, and unfortunately, Tua Tagovailoa very clearly was KO'd on the field, went back into that infamous fencer's pose, was immediately removed from the field and from the game, will undergo protocols today, including MRIs on his brain to see the extent of the damage and what it might look like. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I am not the guy who thinks it's appropriate for me to tell a professional athlete when it's time to hang it up to it's time to hang it up. Time to hang it up, my guy. Tua Tagovailoa, phenomenal guy. I've had the chance to interact and interview him in the past. He is a very, very kind person. He is a very generous person. He is a person that I hate to see have his career come to an end due to circumstances outside of his control, but it has to. I can't feel good. I can't feel good about putting this guy on a football field right now. I don't know that I would be able to. If they came out today and say, hey, we ran the test and he's in great shape, surprisingly no damage done, and Tua's going to play next week, I don't think I could watch that game, to keep it a buck with you. I don't think it's in me to watch that game because it has gotten to the point that I am afraid of seeing something really bad happen to Tua Tagovailoa. Dolphins fall to the Bills last night. 31-10 is your final. Let's go to item number 2. MLB. We got some baseball games coming up today. A couple of them very impactful. We start in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In Boston, No, it's not. What is wrong with you? It's the other New York team, you big fat dummy. The New York Mets are on the road at Philadelphia today. 6:40, Jose Quintana takes on Aaron Nola. 40 minutes later in Atlanta, Georgia, Spencer Schwellenbach will take to the bump for the Atlanta Braves. As the Bravos host the Dodgers, Landon Knack is your starter this evening for the LA Dodgers. Now, interestingly enough, Atlanta, because numbers don't make sense, is actually favored in this game over the Dodgers. They are minus 110 favorites in this one. The New York Mets plus 160 dogs on the road at Philly. These two games, if you are a Braves fan, are the two most impactful games on the day today. And this is not something that I say very often, if ever, but if you are a Braves fan, you are openly rooting for the Philadelphia Phillies tonight. We are in crunch time. If the Braves are going to make a postseason run, it's got to begin by locking up that final wild card spot. If they're going to lock up that final wild card spot, they've got to make up ground on the New York Mets, currently one full game ahead of the Atlanta Braves, both in the division and for that final wild card spot. Should the Braves find a way behind Spencer Schwellenbach to get the win tonight? And should the Phillies find a way to get it done against the Mets, you could wake up tomorrow with one of three realities if you're a Braves fan. Reality one, Braves win, Mets lose. The Atlanta Braves are now back to tied for the final wildcard spot with the Mets going into Game 2 against the Dodgers and Game 2 against the Phillies. Should the Braves win and the Mets win, everything stays the same. You would be a game back. Should the Mets win and the Braves lose, the Braves would then be 2 games back, still with 3 more games in a 4-game set against the LA Dodgers to go through the weekend and into next week. I am simply going to say what I said earlier in the week. If at any point this divisional race ends up seeing the Braves down 2 games to the Mets, I don't think they can win the third wildcard spot. If the Braves at any point up until their 3-game set against the New York Mets, which is the second to last series of the MLB's regular season for Atlanta. They will have one more at home against the Kansas City Royals, a wild card team out of the National League, before the season comes to its conclusion. If the Braves go into that series against the Mets down 2 games, I don't think they can get it done. All right, so these next 3 games very impactful. First pitch for Atlanta tonight at 7:20. First pitch for the Phillies and the Mets tonight at 6:40 in Philadelphia. Again, the only good news you get is that Atlanta's schedule through the conclusion of the regular season is a little bit easier than the Mets. The Mets still have 7 games against the Phillies. The Braves have 4 against the Dodgers, 3 against Cincinnati, 3 against Miami, 3 against New York, 3 against Kansas City. Let me be real clear. It is an easier end to the schedule than the Mets. It is not easy. The Braves have one of the most difficult final stretches of the regular season in Major League Baseball. And pardon me, if they want a shot, they cannot do worse than split with the Dodgers and hope the Phillies give you a little help. At this point, the best thing in the world for Atlanta would be for the Philadelphia Phillies to just run away with like a 15-game divisional lead. We'll talk more baseball later on in the week, we won't. Later on next week, Monday and Tuesday, when we return from the weekend and get our results. Let's go to item number 3. Sometimes goofy stuff makes the water cooler cheat sheet because the goofy stuff is entertaining. So let's do that here. 2 stories that I am adding into the mix because I adore them both. Let's start with a story from Major League Baseball. The Minnesota Twins have released a minor league catcher from their low A affiliate. His name is Derek Bender. Derek Bender was cut loose from the Minnesota Twins. Why, you might ask? Well, Derek Bender apparently really really wanted to go home.
Twins minor league catcher Derek Bender was released by the team. Now, here's what he's accused of. He's accused of telling opposing hitters which pitches to expect. Why would you do that, you might ask? That's what I was thinking. Well, reportedly, according to ESPN sources, he wanted the season to be over. I could not believe this when I heard this story. This is unbelievable.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the next tweet from Jeff Passan said that a few of his teammates tried to just take him out and teach him a lesson in the back outside of the. I mean, that is just so unprofessional. What he's done there, on top of being unbelievably immature, is you've now completely thrown away your career because you want to go home early. Like, this is professional baseball that you're talking about. You've waited your whole life to get the process of or the opportunity to go through the draft process. You get selected in the 6th round, which is still, I think, a pretty decent draft pick.
As a catcher.
And then you've completely thrown your career down the drain by giving and tipping pitches. I've never heard of something like that before, but I don't know. There'd probably be some words being said if he was my teammate.
My dude.
How's that immature?
My dude was done with the season. He wanted to go home. He was down in Fort Myers, Florida, where he was playing for the Mighty Muscles. They were taking on the Lakeland Flying Tigers.
I think you're guessing.
No, I'm not.
Okay, the Flying Tigers thing. You looked a little.
I was trying to write the top of my brain without having to go dig through all my show prep because, I'm ready for the show to be over and I want to go home. Mr. Bender.
Sorry for that.
Playing catcher, decided, that's enough baseball for this year. This is a 6th round pick that was expected to have a future with the Twins, but decided he was done with the with the single A season, was ready to call it a season. So he was just straight up telling the away team batters what pitches were coming. He ended up helping them to put away a number of consecutive games over the Fort Myers Mighty Muscles and sent them out of the playoffs after they had just a few weeks ago a 6-game lead in their division to get into the playoffs. He helped them not do that because he wanted to go home. And I'm simply going to say his low A contract was paying him $280,000 a year, with the possibility of being called up at any given point to AA to AAA, maybe to the show one day, because there is a very good chance that the Twins will need sometime in the very near future.
I had all kinds of jokes, but 200, never mind. 280,000?
Yep.
That's how much you can make for being okay.
That's how much you can make if you are a high draft pick in the MLB. Most guys playing minor league ball ain't making 280K.
Okay, because I thought I've seen movies and stuff that make it look like minor league players don't make it.
Most minor league players aren't making anywhere close to that, but most minor league players aren't highly touted draft picks that are expected to be somebody. He was. So my dude has been cut by the team. I can go ahead and tell you, there's not a ton of cardinal sins that you can commit that will get a team or a league to immediately give up on you. This one is. And real quick before we get out of here, I'm going to go subsection B of item number 3 on the water cooler cheat sheet. San Francisco Giants starting pitcher Logan Webb blew a 3-0 National League lead in the bottom of the 3rd inning in the All-Star game, an All-Star game that many National League fans, myself included, got excited because I thought, this is it. We finally got those dastardly American leaguers. The NL going to get the win. And then Logan Webb from the Giants, who has been remarkable this year, came in and blew that lead. And everybody went, what's wrong with Logan Webb? Now we know the answer. Webb explained it yesterday, quote, it was probably one of the more hungover days I've had the day of the All-Star game. I take responsibility for that. I was having a blast. It was a cool experience. I'm watching the Derby. They had a post-game player celebration, like a party for the players and their families. It was in the middle of the Cowboys Stadium. Little John was DJing. It's free alcohol. I just enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy when my wife woke me up at 7 a.m. and said, hey, I got to get my makeup done right now. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be a long day. And it was a long day. I was nervous. I was excited. I had a lot of Red Bulls. I got Tylenol because I'm trying to get the hangover out of me. I think I wasted all my good pitches in the bullpen. It was all I had, and I wasted all of them. Then I go from the bullpen, and I jog out to the mound, and the only thing I'm thinking is, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up. It's a long job. I think my first pitch almost didn't make it to the plate. I just want to say, Logan Webb, I get it, bud. Those hangovers hit different. They hit different when you're aged a little bit, Logan. What a story. And a boy. We got more from the interview of Logan Webb, including a hilarious Blake Snell no-hitter story coming up later on in the show. The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, quick read, and we're back. Stay right there for me. Oh, yes, the old Doc Ellis story. No on LSD. probably like the worst performance enhancing drug, I have to imagine. But I've not done LSD, so I don't know. No, Wesley, I cannot repeat for the 12th time who won bowling. I can tell you who sucked the most by a lot. I don't quit. I quit yesterday. It was very frustrating. I threw a whole ass hissy fit.
I won bowling.
Did you?
I did. We all had the worst night, but
I want to blame the lane, but I can't. I was just awful. Couldn't find the line at all. I tried everything I have in the bag. Could not find the line.
I had one game where I almost went the entire game with nothing but nines. I bowled too much, though. And I know what I realized what part of the problem was, and I think this was part of your problem too. Less bowlers means you're bowling quicker. And when you're used to bowling with, like 4 people, you get a little bit of rest in between balls. And I
bowled 2 games. I wasn't fatigued. I just sucked. I had people that I like work with, but don't really talk to that often that came up to me and were like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, I don't know.
It definitely was after for him.
Yeah, no, I did not drink anything when we started. I did when I finished.
Yeah, but you looked around just like I did. It's like, I'm like, I'm having a bad game. I'm sure everybody else is killing me. It's like, okay, they're having bad games too. What is going on? But none of us have bowled in a year. Diesel told me too that he hadn't bowled since last time we were there. So
College game day tomorrow morning in Columbia, South Carolina precedes the showdown between the South Carolina Gamecocks and the LSU Fighting Tigers out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The South Carolina Gamecocks have a very unique opportunity tomorrow. The South Carolina Gamecocks tomorrow with a win can stay on top of the Southeastern Conference standings. They are squarely planted at number 1 right now. Granted, it's because they're the only team in the SEC that has played and won an SEC game, but who the hell cares about that? Print the t-shirts.
Let's go say
number 1.
Quit throwing shade on that. I mean, they have that for now.
For now, could have it for 2 weeks.
They could
with a win over LSU. Yesterday evening, our buddy Carter B, who has been a fill-in host on this station many, many times. Carter B runs an LSU-themed podcast down in Louisiana. And he called me up and said, "Do you mind coming on and talking some Gamecock football with me?" I said, "No, be happy to. I love talking ball with anybody who wants to talk ball." So I sat on an LSU podcast and we took some questions about the team from LSU fans and all that, and got into a conversation. And he said, what is the feeling about Shane Beamer right now amongst Gamecock fans?" And I'll give you what I told Carter B and see if South Carolina fans out there amongst the Armada agree or disagree with me. What I told Carter B was that South Carolina fans feel, and I think correctly so, that Shane Beamer is without a doubt one of the best culture-building coaches in college football right now. Shane Beamer has done a phenomenal job at making SC stand out. Shane Beamer has done a phenomenal job of getting guys who want to be there, of getting guys who have bought in, of getting the fan base to completely recommit after the Muschamp debacle. I feel like Shane Beamer is recognized, and correctly, rightly, justifiably so, as one of the best culture-building coaches today in college football. And then I said to Carter Bryant, however, at some point, South Carolina fans are going to need to see a transition to where we don't just have a great culture, but we're putting dubs on the record books too. You missed the bowl game last year, and you can chalk it up to a lot of injuries, and you can chalk it up to whatever you want to chalk it up to. Chalk it up to guys like Juice Wells, who kind of screwed you a little bit, if you want to chalk it up to that. There's a lot of different things that we could say caused it, but it is what it is. This game, to me, feels like it's got additional weight. It's not just a game that is mucho importante because of the weight that it carries within the conference. As I said last week, I didn't think that there was a bowl game in the future if you lose to Kentucky. I think the Kentucky game was a must win if South Carolina is going to find their way back into a bowl game. You did get that win. I can now go one step further. If South Carolina beats LSU, I'm pretty comfortable saying there will be a bowl game. You beat LSU, you're going bowling. I don't see a way there's not 4 more wins if you can knock off LSU. And when I look at LSU, I see a team that is good. Don't for a second let the guard down. They're 1-1. They lost to a good USC team, or at least a USC team that came out of the gate real hot. If you beat LSU, tomorrow, I think a bowl game becomes almost inevitable at that point. But what I said about Shano was that tomorrow we get a real good feel, I think. Because, again, that Kentucky game, to me, we've talked about this a number of times, that Kentucky game is a rivalry game to me now. Wonderful job building up a group of dudes who were very excited to go to Kentucky and knock off a team and a coach that ran smack about theirs. My question mark now becomes, can you take that same energy, excitement, enthusiasm, efficiency, execution?
You're missing a word, momentum, because this team, for the first time in a while, and I know it's only 2 games, has momentum, and the momentum can make you maybe excel in places where you normally wouldn't have or where you shouldn't have. And I think they have momentum. If they beat LSU, so you're going to discount their chance at beating some other teams they shouldn't beat?
No, quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. There will be, or I would expect there to be, if you lose to LSU, probably 2 more games, Wofford being one, maybe just one, and Akron being one. 2 more games where South Carolina is a favorite and expected to win. Two. There are 2 more. You beat LSU, now all of a sudden, some of those other games that you might have been expected to lose, some of those other games might be have a little bit more of a feel of toss-up, right? All of a sudden, because like Vanderbilt beat Texas A&M. I can't say that
Vanderbilt's better than South Carolina. Can you say that?
I would be comfortable saying South Carolina is better than Vanderbilt, but if you asked me to handicap that game, I'd honestly say South Carolina like -3.5, which is that's not what it should be, right? So you beat LSU, a top 16 team, by the way, when these 2 teams get together tomorrow night. Now, all of a sudden, you're still going to be dogs to Ole Miss. You're still going to be dogs to Alabama. You're still going to be a dog. Actually, you may not even be a dog to Oklahoma at that point, right? You wouldn't be a dog to A&M. I think you'd probably be a level football game. You'd be a favorite to Vandy. Mizzou, I don't know where you'll be at that point because, like I said, I don't believe in Missouri. I think Missouri is falling apart at some point. You'll be favored over Wofford, and I'll keep it a buck. You beat LSU, unless Clemson is going to start Appy stating everybody they play. You'll be a level draw with Clemson in that final game as well. This game to me carries a metric bleep load of weight, not just for the South Carolina season, but to Shane Beamer as well. It carries a lot of weight because I think if he's able to navigate this one and get the best of Brian Kelly, I think Shane Beamer is a culture building coach. I think that narrative might go away. Now, I'll tell you who I'm leaning on. I got to see what Dow Loggins does in this game as the OC, right? Are you going to lean on what worked for you last week? Are we going to see the same Lenora Sellers that recognize that? You know whose game I compared him to on the pod last night? Lamar's. Not that he's as good as Lamar Jackson, because very few quarterbacks are. But what I saw out of Kentucky was a quarterback who went, instead of going, read one, it's not there, run. I saw a quarterback who read his progressions. Receiver 1, receiver 2, receiver 3, receiver 4, back to receiver 1. Nobody's open. Now I'm going to go. And the reason you go after you read the progression, and this is something that it took a long time for Lamar Jackson to realize, recognize, and to move forward. Lamar came to the realization eventually that if he goes through his reads, if he goes through his progression, if he gets to receiver 4 and then back to 1 and nobody's open, what's that mean? It means there's additional defenders back there, right? It means that there is more locked in on stopping the receivers, which means there is less locked in on paying attention to him. This is something that I would coach every quarterback with legs to do. You cannot understate how much better your running numbers are if you actually play pocket passer quarterback before you lean on the legs. You cannot understate how many more opportunities are going to come your way to run successfully. You cannot understate how easy it will be, how much easier it will be to run the ball if you go through your progression. Because if they have defenders that are keyed in on you, those are defenders that are not guarding against your passing attack. And if they have defenders drop back to defend against the pass, that means it's going to be, there's less guys locked in on you, so you take off running, there's 1 or 2 less tacklers out there. And I saw that out of Lenore's. But my question is, do we see that same approach out of the play calling this weekend? Do we see a genuine schemed passing attack against LSU that makes LSU keep extra defenders back? Or do you call a series of plays where you lean on Lenora Sellers' athleticism, which allows LSU to play up and more aggressive? If you do that, you're in a world of trouble. World of trouble. All right, we're going to talk more about this game later on because Kirk Herbstreit had something to say about it. I got that audio. I'll play for you later on in the show, as well as some more comments from Pat McAfee. He's hyped about this game, and I'm really intrigued by it. Big pressure spot for Shane Beamer. Prove to me that you're not just a culture building guy, that you can now translate those culture improvements to wins and losses. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Well, I now see veins. I don't know if you can see them. I don't think I saw those before. I mean, they're there, but wow. I did it to myself, so I'm not going to complain. I mean, I should have stopped. When it started hurting really bad, I should have said, that's it, I'm done. But it was free. So if bowling is free, I'm going to bowl till I can't bowl no more. Which is what I did. Apparently, I get made fun of for how excited I get about free bowling. But it's expensive, and I don't have to pay for it. And the food was free, too. You should get excited about that. Oh, I've never seen that before. Dude throwing the ball to third base and hits the third base umpire, like right in the face.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that dude had to leave the field, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, savage crap. Does Mike Tannenbaum's voice bother you?
No.
There's just something about it.
But I also very rarely hear him anymore since he's primarily on what we are.
Hey, Dan. Hey, I just want to say that we're nearly halfway done on a Friday, and you need to just find some cheer and joy or something.
This weekend is going to suck because this entire weekend is just getting everything ready to leave.
Yeah, but at this moment, at this time, just in here talking about sports. Just saying. Yeah. I would say an intervention tickling could come into play, but that would be an HR violation.
Yes,
I'm sure it would be. I don't think anyone's ever uttered that in the history of humanity until this point.
For the better.
It's good to be the first at something.
So what's the impact of this game tomorrow? Taking place in the Cola, Columbia, South Carolina. The LSU Fighting Tigers coming to town, being hosted by the Gamecocks of South Carolina. We spent some time this week. I've gone over it a couple of times, talking about what the off-the-field impact is. The off-the-field impact as far as a wonderful opportunity to get more eyeballs on your product. And I don't think that can be understated. We have said for a while that, especially in the NIL era, visibility matters, right? And this is something that, and I'm not going to hang on this. I'm coming to the on-the-field stuff here in just a minute, but I just want to get this out of the way. Visibility matters, even if you're talking about an NIL kid, because, you know, if an NIL kid was to go play in a place that doesn't really care all that much about football, the NIL opportunities aren't there, right? So even if you're getting a kid who wants to play for your school, but he also wants to take advantage of NIL opportunities, you got to make sure your football program is visible both in your community and as nationally as is possible. That's the type of opportunity that you have in Columbia, South Carolina. And we've talked in the past about what schools are helped the most and what schools are hurt the most by NIL. I can give you an example, right? The Syracuse Orange, all due respect to my folks out there listening right now that are Orange fans. I've been up to New York a number of times.
Wait. Really?
Yes.
There's no. I know you've been there, but I mean, they're Syracuse Orange fans.
Yes.
Around here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know one of them personally. Is a friend of the show, as a matter of fact.
It's about as far-fetched as fairies.
There are Syracuse Orange fans out there, and I've had this conversation with a couple of them in the past. I've been to New York a couple of times. College football just doesn't register there. All right. It registers, but it's not anywhere close to what it is here in terms of impact. And I know that because I was on a show last weekend with a bunch of New Yorkers. And when I told them that my wedding was on a Saturday during college football season, and that, it was something that I understand. I've had 2 people tell me that they can't make it. All right. And while neither of them has said it directly, dollars to donuts. Texter just said, I'm an Orange fan when they play Clemson. Dollars to donuts.
Hey, me too. So I guess I was wrong.
There you go. Dollars to donuts. These 2 individuals I'm thinking of off the get. These people aren't coming to the wedding because they're going to college football games. Okay. When I told these people in New York how guilty I felt that I've been spending years on the radio saying #in-fall weddings, and then I'm having one. And I don't care. All right. I don't care because it's what the lady wants and she's getting what she wants. Mama gets what she wants. All right. It didn't register to them. It's just not that big up that way. Right. And so if you are
maybe love is bigger to them. Maybe love is bigger. So love above football.
No, it ain't that.
Maybe that's what it is.
It ain't that, because if I'd have had that game, if I had that wedding on a Sunday during NFL season, they would have felt the way that most people down here feel about it being on a Saturday in college season. But what I'm saying about a situation like that is if you're going to a place like Syracuse where, yeah, sure, there's Orange fans, but like it ain't as visible, the NIL opportunities just aren't going to be there the way they are at other schools.
Isn't Syracuse undefeated?
Yeah, they knocked off Georgia Tech this past weekend.
And they have this quarterback.
Kyle McCord, former Ohio State Buckeye.
Oh, yeah.
Good player, good team, new head coach in Fran Brown, who I would go to war for. Got the chance to meet him at the ACC Media Days. I bought in immediately, like this guy a lot. So that's the kind of opportunity you take advantage of if you got LSU coming to town, if you're hosting College Game Day, if your team is playing the national noon game that everybody's going to have on the big screen. That's a huge opportunity. What's the opportunities as far as on the football field? I gave you one in the last segment. This is an opportunity for Shane Beamer to look at and tell them this is not just a surface level program. And, I say all the time, I'm never going to blow smoke up your skirt. I'm never going to smooch up to your team. I'm going to tell you how it is, right? I've taken a lot of crap from Clemson fans over the years for telling you that, outside of the Clemson fan base, Dabo is looked at as kind of a yokel, kind of hokey. In fact, in a lot of places, he's looked at as a fraud, all right? But that doesn't matter. It should only matter how you look at him and how he performs to your expectations. I will tell you, South Carolina fans, right now, outside of the COLA, outside of our area, Shane Beamer, friend of the show, is largely looked at as a fraud, all right? He's looked at as a guy who got the job because of nepotism. He's looked at as a guy who is held on to this positioning because of his ability to gain publicity, not because of success. And I don't think it's unfair to say a guy who won 6 games in year 1, took a step back in year 2 and won 5 games, and came into this year with the expectation of getting to 500. There's a lot of people outside of this market. I'm a nationally syndicated radio host. I know. There's a lot of people outside of this market who look at Shane Beamer as a bit of a fraud. And this game, to me, is maybe the best opportunity that Shano has had and maybe will have to beat that rap. to show there is progress. There are steps forwards. We are now capable of competing. Listen, I'm not sitting here telling you that LSU is amongst the cream of the crop here in the SEC. They're not. They're good. They're good. But they're steps back from where they were with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and half the wide receivers in the NFL. They're a step back from that. They are still very good. They are still a playoff caliber team. And by the way, LSU with the loss to USC in opening week, now with a chance to lose to another USC. They lose this game, they're probably out of the playoff hunt. Okay? This game matters to them a lot. You're going to get the best LSU's got, I think. You win this game, I think it goes a long, long way to helping Shane Beamer establish himself as a legitimate head coach, not a guy who's running a circus. And I can't tell you how important I think that is. If Shane Beamer goes out there and they X and O their way to a win over a top 16 team, and yes, it's at home, you're on a national level with the eyes of the nation staring down the barrel at you, you go win this game against LSU. And I think the way that Shane Beamer is looked at nationally changes. I think the narrative around Shane Beamer changes. And if the narrative around Shane-O changes, even though recruiting's been good, watch what that does for recruiting. Watch what happens when you can suddenly put Shane in the same vein of discussion as, and I don't know if this is fair or if this is a reach, but I don't think it would be unfair. Watch what happens when you can put Shane Beamer into a conversation, maybe not with Kalen DeBoer and Kirby Smart, but when you can put him into a conversation with Brian Kelly, when you can put him into a conversation with Eli Drinkwitz, when you can put him into a conversation with Mike Elko, when you can put him into the same breath, the same conversation with coaches who have got teams that are on the verge of joining the upper echelon of the SEC, not have him down in the second tier conversation, which respectfully, outside of our area right now, he is. This is a prove it game for Shane Beamer. It's a prove it game that this isn't just about the dressing. This isn't just about a dog and pony show. This isn't just about looking good and getting social media views. This is about making South Carolina look more like a football program than it has in a very long time. You look like you were shaking your head at me there for a second. Great one.
Oh no! You were talking about how Shane Beamer isn't recognized, but you've also played a bunch of Pat McAfee stuff. Last I checked, he was like the most popular sports.
Correct. And what's he
Yeah.
said about Shane Beamer? Not a word. Not a word. You know what he's talked about? You know what he and Herbie have been talking about? The fans, the environment, the crowd, the stadium, will it be the noise, the hype? Right? I haven't heard, and this is the interesting spot. I've heard McAfee and the guys talk about Brian Kelly. I played you probably 4 clips from his show this week where they talk about South Carolina. How many times have you heard Shane's name? 0. Not one.
All I know is my very first sports show, which I did for 14 years, was a South Carolina Gamecock football show. And so I will always pull for the Gamecocks. This is the first time in a long time that I'm kind of excited because I'm excited because of the defense. And I believe Lenore Sellers is going to be really good by the end of the year. He progressed from week 1 to week 2. If he continues to progress, who knows how good he could be by the end of the season. But if that defense is for real, the defense that showed up the first 2 games, then they have the potential to win more games than a lot of people expect them to. And I just have a quiet excitement, if that's even a possibility. It's just building up back there like, hey, this team may actually be able to do some things this year. Not win the SEC, but be competitive in every game they're in, which is something they haven't been able to say for a while.
I don't disagree with any of that. And I do want to be clear. Telling you what the narratives and the consequences of a game are is not the same as being like, oh, I'm down on them. It's not. I hope they win. Do you understand how much? If they beat LSU this weekend and they go to 3-0 and top the SEC, I'm getting calls to go on nationally syndicated radio show to tell everybody what the Gamecocks are. It's great for me.
But it also makes home life better.
It also makes home life much better. If Mama's a happy Gamecock on Saturday afternoon, Robbie B's a happy soon-to-be married man on Saturday afternoon. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You get my drift. All right. So yeah, I got all the reasons in the world, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to tell you from a neutral standpoint in the middle what the consequences of this game are. And the consequences for Shane are you go from being a guy that is looked at as a showman to a guy that is looked at as a serious head coach. And that's the national narrative right now. And I promise you, when you go talk to a kid in South Georgia, or you go talk to a kid out in Oklahoma, or you go talk to a kid up in New York that you want to come play for South Carolina, he hears the national narrative before he talks to you. He hears the national narrative before he takes that phone call from Dow Loggins or Clayton White or Shane Beamer or anybody else. He hears that national narrative. This is a game that the Gamecocks have the opportunity to change the national narrative about themselves, and I can't tell you how important that is. 71307 text line, start your text with Fan FAN. Got a couple in during the segment. I'll read them when we come back. We'll talk more about this game. Audio Blitz coming up after Lonzo Blitz is... No, don't like that. Sports Flash.
Get on my way. I'm going after the quarterback. According to Rob, who wrote the story, it was the Buffalo Bills defense, not Josh Allen, that led them to a 31-10 victory over AFC East rivals. Rob hates Josh Allen. I want to say it again as he leaves the room. Rob hates Josh Allen. Allen finished the game 13-19 for 139 yards and a touchdown, while James Cook rushed for a pair of touchdowns with 78 yards on 11 carries. Dolphins' Tua Tagovailoa, unfortunately, threw for an interception and left the game with another concussion. The attorneys representing former Clemson and current Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson has told media that a meeting is being scheduled with the NFL to discuss the most recent charge of sexual impropriety. He put that word in there because he thought it was struggling. He was right this time. All right, tune in tomorrow at 12:30 as the Furman Paladins take on the Stetson Hatters. It's Furman versus Stetson right here on your home for Paladins football, The Fan, Upstate. By the way, Wesley, he will not acknowledge your comment, but he did notice. Thanks to me laughing so hard about it.
And then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer.
Is the Monkees playing in the restroom, or did I just?
I do the Smash Mouth version.
Oh,
I'm a cultured American.
okay, all right. If that's what you want to go with. Ain't nothing more American than Neil Diamond, and he's the one who wrote that song. I'm just saying.
Without a trace of doubt in my mind. I was influenced by Shrek. I don't know what to tell you. That dance number from Shrek, slapper, banger.
Listen, I know I put on weight, and but there's no need for that.
I'm in love. Ooh, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I down it, ban it, ban it, ban it, ban it. It's your head to body weight ratio, you jerk.
Yeah.
The preemptive, yeah.
I'm award winning. Matt World, next break.
10-4. It is
Friday, Rob.
indeed
Act like it's Friday.
Friday. Here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Help Say, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, beginning hour number 3. I'll let you know, real quick programming note. Here today, gone tomorrow, because it's Saturday, obviously. Here today, gone tomorrow. Bet for the Cycles on tomorrow. Noon to 4 on the BetQL Network. Myself and Cody Decker will be talking college football during the day. Pretty freaking awesome, if you ask me. Be here Monday, be here Tuesday, and then your boy is gone with a capital G. Next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the entire week after that, as I'll be down in the FLA, both getting hitched and then celebrating the getting hitched. That part very exciting. I will miss you all. I will genuinely miss you all.
He will not give any of us a second thought, and nor should he. This is a joyous time.
That's entirely untrue. Not only will I, but I will also have you know that I have already told the lady friend, not super thrilled about it, but that next Wednesday, there's a chance that we'll be getting on the road a little bit later than we wanted to on Wednesday to head down to the St. Augustine.
I mean, I just think it's a bad move. I mean, we do need to talk about it later, but I think it's a bad move for you. But that's
no,
fine.
it's not.
No, it's not. It is.
I will drive into and through the night if that's what it takes. Because
it's I don't know, man. It's just not a good way to start things. I'm just saying.
I have priorities in my life. And this would be one.
All right. I'm giving you my opinion.
As of right now, we are scheduled to, and this may change. We don't know yet. These things sometimes fall apart last minute. Hopefully they don't. I will say they have been very good about once they put it on the books, it's on the books. Lonzo and I scheduled next Wednesday morning to have a Zoom interview with the one, the only L.A. Knight. Yeah! Which we will then play for you when we get back from vacation.
Listen, I just, it's...
Yeah. So we'll hopefully have that done next Wednesday.
I bowled too hard yesterday. My right arm is not working well. I apologize.
I want you to know I've already got like 40 questions written out and power ranked for what to talk about with this guy.
So you're saying you don't need me?
No. Why would I not have you to talk to
because
L.A. Knight? Yeah.
Because if we have that many, questions. We probably only have time for 3.
And it depends on how much he talks. We've had guys that give us much. I'm not worried about it.
Come on.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, the other possibility, that other one, that would be the problem. But I've actually heard that person do interviews too. I don't think we'd have a problem with either one of them actually speaking a lot.
The fiance texted the show and said, "Oh, LA Knight's more important than me." She texted the text line.
See, I'm on your side. I think it's
listen,
I think it's a bad move.
Stop. I am not saying, I'm pushing the wedding back half an hour for LA Knight. I'm saying I'm pushing leaving back, like leaving to drive down there 20 minutes to talk to LA Knight. And the answer is Yeah. How many times does that come around? How many times? Hey, lady friend, quick question. If I told you that this was for Spencer Rattler, would you be okay with it? You damn right you would.
I don't think
all
she
right?
would. And you're putting yourself at disadvantage right away. And I just don't think it's a good move on your part.
So what do I do?
Putting
Say,
yourself at disadvantage.
sorry, LA Knight, don't have time for you?
Yes.
No.
Yes,
Ain't doing
that's what you do.
This is a legend. This is
You
an
know,
icon.
you know what he's going to notice? Nothing. He'll just move on to the next interview. Now, after the interview, he's going to say, "Man, those guys were awesome," but he won't know that he missed it if he misses it.
You think I'm not going to drop that on him? Hey man, I'm gonna be in a fight because I'm here, but this is important. Come on. Of course I am. All right. She
Now,
said,
if it was Drew McIntyre, maybe she'd be okay with it.
Yes, exactly. If it was Drew McIntyre in studio, she'd be like, "No, we're not leaving. I'll be there." Right. And then the week after that, again, fingers crossed, we will get the opportunity to do an interview with the one, the only Tiffany Stratton.
I'm just going to say that if you don't show, I'm not doing the interview. So, I mean, so we will look bad for WWE if you say you're going to be there and you're not there.
I'll be there.
Because, I'm not good enough to do an interview on my own. So
Don't you worry. I'll be there.
I've been told I'm not very good at all. So I can't do it.
No one has said that. So
yeah, they have.
we will let you know.
Probably some listeners out there right now are saying that.
We'll let you know when and if we get those things officially scheduled. Right now, they are more than tentatively scheduled. We will get there. All right. It's 8 o'clock. Let's do the audio blitz, or at least a part of it. We may have to run some of these back later on in the show. I got some stuff I want to give you. Best audio from the last couple of days. Have you seen this thing about Joe Burrow and the water bottle? Well, he got asked about it yesterday.
Water bottle.
What did I do?
Apparently, it's just the way you picked it up that they said there might be something wrong with the worst.
I picked it up weird.
Yes. Did you feel like you did?
I don't know. I drank water. I can't say I've seen that or know what anybody's talking about.
Can't say I've seen that or know what anybody's talking about. Joe B says, "What'd I do? I picked up a water bottle funny." Look, it wasn't just that. It was also him kind of doing my wrist hurts thing that Lonzo's been doing all morning. All right.
No,
Banger.
Now I lost.
2-1.
Wow, the show's not over yet. I can't do that, or I'll start crying.
Joe Burrow. A lot of people saying this weekend,
dude, it slipped
Joe
in
Burrow's
his hand. Like I said the other day,
it wasn't just the water bottle, because
Okay.
the water bottle was supplemental to Joe B in the huddle with his throwing hand doing this on a surgically repaired wrist in a game where the passing offense stank. But he did not have T. Higgins. He did not have the best version of Jamar Chase. So the passing offense was already hampered, but then I got him out there tossing ducks and rolling the wrist around.
So if he rubbed his shoulder or his knee or something like that, or rubbed his head, it would have the same effect.
It's his throwing hand.
No, what
man.
I'm saying is he had surgery. He's recovered from it. It's probably a little achy.
I mean, maybe so. But do you not think if you're a Bengals fan and you got a quarterback out there throwing ducks and he's rolling his wrist around, you don't go, uh-oh.
Hey, you remember before the internet when people, even though they might have been highly scrutinized, we didn't have to hear about it from every single angle. So his wrist is a little sore. I don't think that was the problem. The problem is what you just said. He doesn't have his receivers.
We're going to find out. But I
hopefully we won't find out this week. I hope his wrist hurts this week.
I don't think that that Bengals fans are wrong for being concerned. I just found the response
this week, right?
Yeah, well, I'm assuming now that they're playing you.
Yeah.
Yes, I have the schedule memorized for the weekend.
Well, I mean, you're talking about that player, so I would expect you would know what his next game is. I'm just sorry.
Logan Webb is a pitcher for the Giants. He's on the same team as Blake Snell. Earlier in the year, Blake Snell threw a no-hitter. We talked about it on the show because you'll remember Blake Snell also had a game going where he got yanked, and instead of staying on the field celebrating with the boys, he went into the clubhouse and he was playing PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out that's kind of a thing he does all the time, as Logan Webb explained when asked about the post-game celebration of Blake's no-no.
Did you guys go out and party that night or anything?
We hung out at the hotel. I think we had a day game the next day, so I think one of us had a kind of like a suite to hang out in. We hung out, and Blake didn't even hang out. I think he was playing 2K or something.
So let me get this straight. He throws a no-hitter after he had never seen the ninth inning before in his career. You all are celebrating, and he's playing video games?
Yeah. That's Blake. He beats to his own drum. He likes getting on there and talking to the kids that he beats in 2K and MLB The Show. That's just him. I mean, it's not like it was the whole team hanging out in the room. There was like 6 or 7 of us. It wasn't 25 guys hanging out. Yeah, I mean, nobody cared if he wasn't there or not.
Blake Snell celebrated.
Was that
his
Chris
no-no.
Rose? Was that Chris Rose?
I don't know who it was.
It sounded like Chris Rose trying to act like playing a video game is so. Oh, he was playing a video game. Shut up, Chris Rose. And if it wasn't you, shut up anyway.
Blake Snell tosses the first no-no of his career and does so, as was pointed out. Blake Snell's not a guy who makes it to the 6th inning very often. He's a guy who's going to dominate you for 6. He's going to give his team the opportunity to go get up on you 4, 5, 6, nothing. Throws a no-no, goes back and immediately picks up the sticks and starts playing 2K. I don't care about that. I get it. I don't care about that. What I love is Blake Snell getting on 2K, beating up on a bunch of kids and talking to them. Hell yeah. Big Blake Snell guy over here now. As Michael Jordan didn't once say, but is told on the internet that he did, them kids.
America.
You're coming into my world, son. You're on the internet playing video games. You're in my generation made this a thing, not yours.
Okay.
Talk that, Blake Snell.
How often do you get to do that when you're playing online?
Constantly.
Because you're winning.
I'm playing.
You're not very good.
I'm playing Call of Duty. I'm playing Rocket League. It doesn't matter what I'm playing. If I hear a voice and it's a little squeaker on the other end, and I get you, I am talking mad to that kid.
America.
All right. Listen, the kids of today, they wouldn't have survived a 2007 Call of Duty public lobby. Okay. Yeah. You wouldn't have survived the things that got said about my mother when I was playing games at your age.
Girl.
So now you're catching the heat from me and Blake Snell in 2024. Children,
Shut the hell up.
talk that, Blake. Yes, sir. Hey, speaking of quarterbacks that maybe are hurt, but we don't know if they're hurt, and maybe it's a problem, but maybe it's not. There's another one going on. It's not just Joey B, Joe Burrow. There's questions being asked about Kirk Cousins after the Falcons stank it up in week number 1. One of the things that was very interesting was that Kirk Cousins was spending a lot of time out of the pistol formation. Pistol being the shotgun, but the running back is behind you. Now, the pistol is a versatile formation because obviously it allows you to kind of this somewhat degree hide which direction the running back's going to go. The problem is it requires the quarterback to be able to go left or right. And ordinarily out of the pistol, a quarterback is going to have the same setup as he does out of the shotgun. But Kirk Cousins was straight facing the center. He was squared up to the center, which is unusual for quarterbacks. And a lot of people started asking the question, is Kirk Cousins dinged up? He got asked that question at a presser.
Yeah, we started with pistol back in April. That was a big fundamental philosophy, talking with, our offensive line coach, talking with our coaches as to what we wanted to do schematically. And then they basically said in the pistol, you can stand however you want. And back in April, I said, I just feel like I'm closed off, to the right, handing the ball off. The back's on you really quick in the pistol under center. He's not on you as quick. And I thought, turning right with my right foot forward like I've been in the past. In the pistol, it's hard to do because I'm kind of closed off. It's hard to get open to the back the way I want. So I think I'm going to square up my stance. Watch some tape of Peyton Manning, who when he was in the pistol had some success with it. He was kind of a square stance. Thought he looked pretty comfortable, had a good rhythm to it. I thought I'm going to try that. I was going back to 2013. I was in the pistol a lot when I backed up Robert Griffin because of the zone read. We were in the pistol a lot, and I was always a square stance in the pistol. So I thought, going back 10 years, my history in 2013 was 2012 was square stance in the pistol. I'm going to go back to that. So if you go back and watch that tape, 2012, 2013, it was a square stance. And then I was left foot up when Kevin O'Connell got to Minnesota. I'd always been right foot up. He then said, I want to try left foot up. And then went back to right foot up in 23. So it's been a constant evolution, but you're always kind of working through it, and felt like square stance in the pistol made the most sense.
I think anybody who's writing off Kirk Cousins is doing so at their own risk and prematurely. That being said, I've also said I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to have near the numbers in Atlanta he had in Minnesota, not because he's not good, but because he just had generational talent in Minnesota he doesn't in Atlanta.
Sounded like a genius there. I mean, how is he playing poorly right now? At least he knows what
Did you watch week 1?
he knows what he needs to do, and now his body just has to perform the way his brain does. What an amazing football mind.
Listen, I am even with him being an Atlanta Falcon, I am Team Kirko. All right, big Team Kirko guy. Why? Because we're both dorks. We're both Costco and Kirkland's bros. Big Kirkland guy over here. In fact, I got to go there later on today. I got to get some new shirts.
I thought it was Kohl's.
And Kohl's, big
Okay,
Kohl Cash guy.
okay,
All right.
all right.
Kirkland, Kohl's, Costco, big Kirk guy.
Is Kirkland a brand at Costco?
Kirkland is a brand at Costco.
Okay, all right.
All the flannel I've been wearing the last year or so, all Kirkland.
Yeah, you
all
better go early because
right?
it's Friday. You ain't getting out of there for an hour.
All my
traffic.
liquor is Kirkland brand now. I'm a big fan.
Wait. So the people who make clothes also make liquor?
Kirkland makes everything. Kirkland doesn't make everything. Kirkland basically takes from other brands, repackages it, and redistributes it at a discount. Big fan. You're still get like Kirkland brand vodka is Sky vodka. Big fan.
I was going to say that happens at every grocery chain. They don't actually make those can those vegetables themselves. They just relabel them.
Correct.
They're probably Green Giant or something.
Big Kirkland's guy, big Costco guy, big Kohl's guy, whatever. Me and Kirk. And the fact that my man, when asked about it, was like, well, back in 2012, I did this and I had these. Like, he's a nerd. I love this guy. I think people are writing him off prematurely. I don't think he's going to have the numbers he had in Minnesota. But I think if you were saying, oh, he's cooked, he's done, he's out, I think you're going to have a real bad time. Finally, while we're speaking about marital disputes, have you heard what my man, Mr. Buck, did? Joe Buck was down in Mexico with his wife. They decided to go play some golf. And Joe Buck, I feel like, you know what? I'm just going to play the clip and then we'll all talk about it.
The date, July 7. The location, Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. I was getting ready for the American Century Championship in Tahoe, and Michelle and I, with our kids taken care of, thought we'd go play a few holes and have some fun.
We did.
Yeah, and we got to 10, and I said, why don't I hit a couple of drives off 10, and then we'll go get something to eat. Well, 10 is a little left to right hole, and Michelle has been known to do headstands during the course of our courtship and marriage, and even prior to even Joey arriving on the scene. And so she did a headstand at the end of the tee box for good luck out into my left, and at the exact moment that I was teeing off, she decided with her feet in the air to do the splits, thereby dropping her right leg a little bit to the side, right in my line of fire, and I hit a golf ball, tailor-made with little designs on it, into the inside of her right ankle and shattered it.
That's right. Shattered.
So that's why.
Freak accident, though.
Total freak accident. It's like,
if you were having a competition, you would never, ever be able to do it. This was like God or the universe just directed this ball right into my ankle bone.
Hey, congratulations on having that kind of power. I mean, the fact that you're able to shatter a human being's ankle bone.
So I learned
Joe
a lot.
Buck's got some power.
I learned a lot about this, and I'll start with this. You know what? It shockingly takes very little pressure to break a bone. Honestly, I didn't know. I assumed you had to like drop a cinder block. No, it really doesn't take that much. If you apply it at the right spot, bone shatter's pretty easy. But here's the take that I walked away from this. I saw this pop up online and I'm like, yo, what now? She goes on to say that it wasn't just the bone that broke. When the bone broke, one of those bones sliced the nerve in her ankle. They had to go surgically repair a nerve. Like she's going to have nerve damage in her foot the rest of her life, yada, yada, yada. Weird story. And everybody's like, oh, Joe Buck's going to live in the doghouse. Can we talk about it? No, he's not. No, he's not. He didn't do anything wrong. She's doing a handstand on the end of a tee box while a guy's hitting a shot. I'm sorry. I'm sure your handstands were adorable, Michelle. But if you do a handstand in front of a guy that's about to hit a golf ball, it's kind of your fault. All right? Joe Buck doesn't live in the doghouse, and I'm glad to hear because she defended him. She's like, hey, freak accident. I'm not mad, whatever. But the internet started going off on Joe Buck like, oh, doghouse, dog. I can't believe you did that. Man, I'm sure your headstands were adorable when you were dating or whatever. But like you went to the end of a tee box in front of a guy who's about to hit a tee, about to hit a drive, and are just randomly breaking out handstands on a golf course tee box. Stop.
Dude.
Joe Buck's not in the doghouse.
You're missing the whole point. Way to go, Joe. She's obviously very agile. that could be advantageous in many places.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm sure that she does the handstands for encouragement from Joe Buck. I'm just saying, I need the internet to not beat up on Joe Buck. He gets enough crap as he is just for doing his job. I need him not to cast Joe Buck into the doghouse for something that, not the time or place to be doing handstands. Michelle, not the time or place.
Stop it, golf elitist. Have fun.
That's not even a golf elitist.
It's a recreational activity. It's not even a sport. Go have fun.
First off, it is a sport. Diesel. Fake diesel. The point here is, I don't need Joe getting the heat for his wife doing a headstand on a tee box. What do you think's going to happen if I run in front of a guy hitting a drive? I expect to get knocked out.
Am I Kane now?
No, you're. Okay, I get it now. Dr. Isaac Yankum, executive producer. All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back, talk some more football, look at the NFL slate, give you some picks and thoughts. 9 o'clock, the fellas from Moving the Chains will join to discuss the high school football slate coming up. Well, what's left of it. Had a lot of games last night. A couple more around the state coming up tonight. We'll talk about that and more on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Matt World.
All right, guys, one more live and we're back. Zach, welcome in, buddy. We'll be right back.
Zach, I'm sure he addressed your comment while I was gone.
I am staying, Zach. I did not actually, but I will. I am staying on the it is too early to tell. And what I said to Rashad Beard, as a matter of fact, I think I posted a clip of this on TikTok last night, and I will post it on Facebook and Instagram after the show.
Rob Brown, TikToker.
Yeah, unfortunately. What I said was, I don't think Rashad said it, and it's the only thing I really butted heads about with Rashad yesterday. He said, "Oh, you know, the excuses are gone." First off, they're not excuses; they're reasons. Okay, and there is a difference, and it's important to distinguish that. The second thing I would say is, you're talking about a quarterback who is on his third head coach. He's in his second year. He just started his second year. He's on his third head coach. Reich, Tabor, Canales. Number two, his wide receiver core. His number one this year was the number two on a different team last year. His number two this year was his number four last year. His number three this year was his number one last year in a completely different role. And his number four this year was a college player last year. Entirely new wide receiver core. They've played one game together because they played one series in the preseason. So they played one game together. Your offensive line. You got two new guys on it. You got another guy who switched positions. So you've got 3/5 of your offensive line either in a new role or on a new team. They're going to take some time. And again, one series together. Actually, the offensive line did not play a single snap together in the preseason as the starting five. And your head coach and offensive coordinator, it's the first time. Canales has called plays for 1 year. He did it last year in Tampa with a completely different team. And it's his first time being a head coach and having to take on both roles at the same time. Everything about this team is brand new. And I think you have to treat it as if everything on the team is brand new. Bryce has got to be better than he was on Sunday. I'm not arguing. He stank up the field on Sunday. He's got to be better. But to say that like, oh, everything's great, and if Bryce fails, it's 100% on Bryce now, that's not true either. That's not true. So I am not as optimistic as I was 72 hours ago. Actually, not 72 hours ago. It's been a long time since
Yeah,
Sunday.
a little bit longer than that.
I'm not as optimistic as I was this day last week, but I'm also, of everyone I've spoken to, apparently the least pessimistic. I still think there is time for him to get it right. But I think because of the game he plays, which is a much more cerebral style of game, that takes longer to develop your timing and your rhythm in the NFL than if you are a more equal opportunity physical quarterback.
So you're saying they weren't dumb throws. It's just, everybody else hasn't caught up.
No.
You say he was cerebral, and then that first throw was pretty dumb.
That first throw was a terrible throw. The second interception was a terrible throw. He's got to hit Thielen in that spot. Thielen gave him the target and the room. Again, I am not saying, oh, Bryce was good and it was everybody. No, Bryce sucked in that game for sure. It was also the very first, that first pick was the first snap that the Panthers starting 11 played together. It's the only play in existence of humanity that those 11 guys were on the field together at the same time. So yeah, forgive me if I look at that and go, maybe they weren't exactly settled in that spot. And yes, James, you did hear a Dr. Isaac Yankum DMD spot. The original DMD. We go deep into the lore on this show.
He, by the way, coming to Comic-Con Junior next month. We're going to see what we can do.
I just think there'd be signs of what he can do even if they weren't winning. Dude, here's the thing. For sports fans, bad stands out more than good, right? Like we all agree on that. You lock in on the bad, and very rarely does the good overshadow the bad. So yes, the two picks, the misses, whatever. Nobody talks about the one that he threw with a crossing between two defenders that led to Carolina's deepest red zone penetration of the day. There were 6 or 7 Bryce Young footballs in that game that were very well thrown, but nobody talks about those. We only want to dial in on the picks.
By the way, I agree with the rest of your text. It has helped everybody out. So every game except for the Kansas City game, you can get in there pretty cheap.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'll take advantage of it when the Saints come to town in October. I'll be up there knocking back some. Rashad and I always share a drink anyway, but I may need to buy Rashad a few drinks if that game goes that way again. I wouldn't bank on it. That being said, Derek bleeping Carr.
The 3 friends in the next break.
3 friends in the next break. 10-4.
Cole Bowling Shoes Bryson. Or is it Cole Bumpers Bryson?
Bumpers.
Is it Bumpers?
Bumpers. I'll tell that story in a little while.
We don't have to use Cole anymore. He can just be Bumpers
That's
Bryson.
what I'm calling
Yeah,
him.
yeah, Bumpers Bryson. That
I'm
works
just
out
calling
really
them
good.
Bumpers now. What up, Bumpers? Welcome to Wire with Bumpers and Diesel.
He probably has a gun in his car. I'm just saying. I don't know, but more than likely.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Football Friday. Do make sure you stay tuned later on today. Wire to Wire with Diesel and Bumpers coming up from 3 to 7 this afternoon. They're going to go down into the slot.
Wait. I thought it was Cole. Is he being replaced?
No, his name's Bumpers now. I need all of you listening to the show. And don't tell him I told you why, but just start texting him and be like, what's up, Diesel and Bumpers? Yesterday when we went to our bowling event, or for me, when we went to our psychologically induced anger session, I sucked yesterday. We went there and our buddy,
you got to commune with your fellow employee though.
That's the only thing I enjoyed, to be honest with you. We got there and Cole Bryson came by. He had about an hour with us before he had to split to go up to Greer. By the way, congratulations to the Yellow Jackets. A 23-year losing streak to the Burns Rebels came to its conclusion last night. So congrats, because I know we got a good little audience up there in Greer, mainly because I woke up this morning to like 7 DMs from Greer fans like, yo, can the Yellow Jackets get some love tomorrow? You're damn right you can. Congrats, Greer. So we got there, and Cole comes up, and he's like, I'm not going to play. We talked him into playing. And Odie, the Irishman, who you can hear on WORD, especially on Saturday nights from the Upstate Pulse, 7 to 9 p.m. on brother station.
By the way, he has his own show on Sunday nights from 8 to 10 called Sunday Nights with Odie Fitzgerald. So you should check that out too.
What does he talk about? I haven't gotten a chance to listen. What does he talk about?
Some of which you might like, but most you would not.
Politics?
No, it's a mix of everything.
Okay.
Which is what he does. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna give a shot. I love Odie.
He is much more unhinged on Saturday.
I love Odie.
Yeah, because he's in a room full of crazy people, and that usually tends to lead to things.
I think the only time that I've ever made Zoe on the radio genuinely nervous was the first time I got to go sit in with Odie on a show. It was great. Anyway, Odie is hilarious. Without telling Cole Bryson, he put the bumpers up so we could all make the jokes about Cole needing bumpers, except for Cole totally needed the bumpers. So he played one, and I didn't know you could hit the bumper so many times per throw as CB did, to the point that I told him, I just call you bumpers now. So what I need you all to do is during Wire to Wire today, when you text the show at 71307 and start your text with fan like you should for this show, and we'll come to your text here in just a minute, I need you all to, without telling him I told you to do it, I need you all to refer to him on the show today as Bumpers. I need you to call it Wire to Wire with Diesel and Bumpers and just let that roll for a hot minute.
I got called his dad yesterday because I was yelling at him because he kept trying to throw the ball while the thing was still down. It's like, stop doing that.
I'm pretty sure Cole'd never been bowling before. At least that's the vibe I got. Pretty sure he'd never been bowling before.
I was gonna say something mean, but I'm not. Because you're already upset about it.
Old Bumpers.
The fact that he beat you.
With bumpers!
With bumpers, yes. Hey, we all would have did well with bumpers.
Oh, Cole,
especially
Bumpers
yesterday, because it was a gutter fest for a while.
I was booty yesterday.
Yes, Cole, from now on, bumpers. Ooh, if I were inventive, but I probably would get in trouble, and I am inventive, I could go in and change all of their liners to say with Diesel and bumpers.
I'm not saying you shouldn't.
That would get me in some kind of trouble. But you know what? I have a way to cover myself, and we'll strike this from the record. I will replace the voice guy with Rob saying bumper, so it'll look like Rob did it.
I'll just do it.
That works.
That's hilarious. Are you kidding me? I might say in our daily promo for the weekend, the Rob Brown Show returns on Monday. And don't forget to listen to Wire with Diesel and Bumpers every weekday from 3 to 7 p.m. on the Fan Upstate.
When do you know how far is too far? I don't know.
When Cole fights me.
Okay. All right.
When Cole fights me. Jadeveon Clowney talked yesterday. Of course, we had the Panthers still rebounding. We'll go real, not real late, but like a little bit late here. For two reasons. Number one, because Jadeveon Clowney's awesome. And number two, because he gave me the next Rob Brown Show soundbite. Jadeveon Clowney asked, what happened on Sunday? And he said this.
Somebody would have told me, bet all your money on us. I think I would have did it. I guess that just thought we was the better team going to that game. And I looked at the offensive line. I was not impressed about their offensive line last week. And, but things happen. Things that go our way. It got out of hand very fast, 10-17. You can't turn the ball over in this league. The winning probability change when you turn the ball over. You can't let a team run the ball, average 6 yards pop on a run game, or just two things that keep you from winning games in the league. And we did both of them bad. So hopefully this week we can do both of them the opposite.
You seem like you're still a little bothered by that.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Of course. I just think it's a pride thing when it comes down to the run game, and it don't really matter what the coach calls. It's about somebody whooping somebody in front of them, a man in front of them. It's a grown man's game, and you have to show up and impose your will on the man. So they just impose their will on us, and I don't like that feeling because as a man, I ain't never want to be done like that. And I don't think you should let no man do you like that playing this game. So that's why I take pride in that run game, because it don't matter what the call is. You just whoop somebody's ass in front of you and make the play. So I just try to get that in their head, like whoop somebody's ass, and let's do what we got to do.
Jadeveon! Now, in fairness, I do love that he started with, I wasn't impressed by that offensive line. You know what I didn't say to Rashad? How about my boy Diatus, who was, doing that.
Whoop somebody's ass and let's do what we got to do.
Diatus was just a fuaga, just laying folks out. That's the mentality I need out of this team. What did I say to Rashad yesterday? I don't really care about the X's and O's against the Chargers on Sunday. I care that you come out and fight. Show me that you got some grit. Show me you got that dog in you. Jadeveon Clowney and the defense take that approach. They might have a shot back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Three friends.
All right, guys, one more live and we're back. Stay right there. Foamy.
Speaking of the arbiter, now I've got to decide, do I use the punchline for that promo? Because it worked out so perfectly. But I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. Do I give him you've already forgotten.
I don't know what you're talking about. You use that punchline for the.
He was the punchline for the promo that I wrote down for 618 when we were talking about bowling shoes.
Oh. Bumpers?
Do I? No. Mark Ryan.
Oh. No.
Oh, now I'm doing it for sure.
Oh, okay. Well, then why did you ask?
You've already forgotten. You don't even know.
It doesn't matter.
Do we give? Yeah. So do you use the name of someone who's no longer here as a punchline? And the answer is yes, all the time. So why not do it where there's a chance that maybe it would play during his national show that's on our air on Saturday? Because, promos play during, I mean, I just think that would be kind of funny. You ain't laughing like me, though. So, but that's fine. We both share the same kind of joy when it comes to that name, though. So you would think you would enjoy that. I'm probably doing it. You just brought up his name, James, and thank God he won't appear. Someone's grumpy.
Big college football weekend upcoming. Had a couple of games last night on deck. The Arizona State Sun Devils knocked off Texas State 31-28. Northwestern State over South Alabama 87-10.
I know you're having a day and everything, but you said Texas.
Yes, it's the name of that state.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All
Arizona
right.
State beat Texas State.
Okay, I was just making sure that I heard you right. So, okay. All right.
87-10. They decided to play a 6-minute fourth quarter just to get up out of there. Not a good night for the Northwestern State Demons. The Jags just did everything. 365 rushing yards, 257 through the air.
I was going to say, you would think there would have been more yardage in a score that high, wouldn't you?
I mean, a lot of short yardage situations, I believe. We got two games tonight. UNLV is at Kansas. The Rock Chalk Jayhawks, a 9.5-point favorite. Kansas State and Arizona is a top 20 matchup tonight. The Wildcats on the road at Bill Snyder Family Stadium in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. That's a 20v14 matchup in that one. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we all lay down for a lovely night's slumber and wake up tomorrow to watch College Game Day emanating from Columbia, South Carolina. A couple of games tomorrow that I'm intrigued in. I will start with this one. We got an SEC Big Ten matchup right out of the chute. The number 4 Alabama Crimson Tide had a bit of a fist fight on their hands last week when they took on the USF Bulls tomorrow afternoon. They are on the road up at Camp Randall, taking on the Badgers of Wisconsin. I am intrigued in this contest because I want to see how Bama responds. Last weekend got a little dicey. They needed some late game heroics to make it work and get out of there. Now, they ended up winning by a score that felt a little bit lopsided. Game was dramatically closer than it needed to be for the Crimson Tide. It took Jalen Milroe doing Jalen Milroe things late in the game for Alabama to eventually pull away. What did they do when they go take on a whiskey team that is trying to be included in the Big Ten conversation? What do they do against the whiskey team that is known for doing what USF did, which is beating you at the point of attack, which is beating you at the line of scrimmage? That is what South Florida did to Alabama last week. Will Wisconsin be able to do the same thing? I think this game is massively impactful because I will have to acknowledge that as much as I absolutely believe Kalen DeBoer is the right man to follow Nick Saban, I think they made the best possible hire, to be honest with you, in bringing Kalen DeBoer down to Tuscaloosa. They need to go win this game. They need to go win this game, not compete in this game. They need to go win this game. Oklahoma State's at Tulsa. LSU's at South Carolina. We talked a little bit about that one earlier. We will give you, coming up in the next hour, our official picks, prognostications, projections for this one. Suffice to say, I absolutely think it is a game South Carolina can win. But I do think they're going to have to be pretty close to perfect to make that happen. And I also think it's not going to hurt them any if LSU makes a couple of mistakes, as LSU did last week against Nicholls State and certainly did in week 1 against the other USC. So we'll talk about that one. As far as top 25 and interesting matchups, Michigan, after their out against Texas last week, is hosting Arkansas State up in Ann Arbor. Memphis at FSU. Here is very interesting, something that has developed over the past couple of days. Remember last week when this line first went on the board, and of course this line first went on the board like a ways out because Florida State and Memphis, Florida State was off last weekend. When this line came on the board, Florida State was favored at home by 1 1/2 of a point. Florida State is now favored by 6.5 points, which means that either the folks at Vegas or the folks that are putting their hard-earned money down on wagers, they are not writing off the Noles quite yet. We'll find out if that is the correct call or not. Memphis, pretty good little football team, taking themselves down to Tallahassee, Florida. NC State coming off their loss has Louisiana Tech. Boston College, Mizzou is kind of an interesting story. Boston College under Bill O'Brien got themselves a big win over Florida State a week and some change ago, almost 2 weeks ago now. They've got a little momentum. And for the first time in a long time, Boston College is a ranked team, but so is Missouri. 24 on the road at 6 when Boston College visits Missouri. A game that I am a little bit surprised is being played at 3:30 in the afternoon. The Civil War, Oregon State. Now, preseason, I would have told you that on the list of rivalry games, this one, I didn't really felt means a lot, or at least it didn't look on paper like it was going to be competitive. I do think it means a lot because the Beavs got left behind by the Mighty Ducks, who went over to the Big Ten and almost nearly condemned Oregon State in the Big 12 to a death sentence. So I'm sure there's a little bit in terms of a healthy rivalry of we want to send you back to the Big Ten with an L. It wouldn't have been interesting if Oregon was as good as I thought Oregon was going to be. Instead, Oregon is free-falling from number 4 down to number 9 in the rankings, despite not losing a game. Dan Lanning's Ducks don't really have the gas in the tank that I thought they were going to preseason. This is not just a must-win game for Oregon. This is a must-dominate and show we are who Rob Brown thought we were game.
Do you really think that players care about conference that much for that to be a thing?
Do I think they care about conference that much? Do I think they have pride in themselves? Do I think they're probably a little bit upset that a school that I'm sure at least some of them love got kind of made to look a little bit in a position of danger? Yeah. And if I'm the coaches there, remember Oregon State with a brand new coaching staff. If I am Trent Bray at Oregon State, I am 1,000% hammering on that. Hey,
really?
Yeah.
I
try to find motivation even in dumb places where it shouldn't exist.
No, I get what you're saying. I just don't believe it will work because I have never heard about Pac-12 pride. I know Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. They're now less than 12, but I've never heard about Pac-12 pride.
I am going to say lovingly, that's a you thing. I know a lot of Pac-12 fans.
I did say I.
Yeah, you did.
I said I like twice.
Yeah, you did. I do think it is. I do think it is a you thing. I know, for instance, former UCLA Bruin Cody Decker loves promoting the Pac-12, or loved promoting the Pac-12. Now he cusses it out for not existing anymore, which is, again,
so
very
does he have the
understandable.
same pride in his current conference?
I mean, No. Yes. I don't know.
Why not? So conference above team then?
No, but conference pride is still a real thing.
In the SEC, yes.
Oh, yeah. They're very special.
Well, it does mean more.
Yeah, I know. I've been told by some lady on a TV commercial a million times.
Ashley Judd.
Some lady. She don't get bonus points for being an SEC celebrity. All right.
Doesn't she though?
I mean, she does when she's Ashley Judd, but I don't need her.
Okay.
You just don't understand college football. I'm from Kentucky. You're from Kentucky, Ashley. What has Kentucky contributed to the SEC that you feel so much damn pride?
Basketball.
Ashley?
Basketball.
But in all sincerity, what up, Ashley Judd?
Yeah, and you can't deny the basketball part.
I mean, I can now.
Well, lately, yes,
Yeah.
but historically.
Okay, well then give some props to the Pac-12 who dominated college football for the first 50 years of its
I
existence.
can't because they don't exist anymore. Well, kind of, sort of.
You can still acknowledge them.
So is it like the Mountain Pack?
Listen,
is that what it is now?
The Pac West. I am interested in that Oregon State game. For sure, Notre Dame's at Purdue, which wouldn't feel like much of a game. It's in Lafayette, Indiana, except for Notre Dame just lost to NIU. They do not have any more landing strips. They've got no more runway with which to take off. Utah's at Utah State. That's a top 12 team in Utah. Utah State shouldn't matter out at Maverick Stadium in Logan, Utah, but it does because Utah doesn't have Cam Rising again. He is out. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the rest. Not a great college football slate this weekend. It's really not. Like, I pretty much just ran you through the highlights.
So for South Carolina, LSU. I mean, that's probably it might be the biggest game, right?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I think part of the reason game day is in Columbia is
And
because
probably not big for other people, but big around here.
it's
So,
huge.
yeah.
I do think it's big. I think it's huge for LSU as well. LSU loses this game, Brian Kelly might be on the hot seat that quick, just like that. All right, we'll talk more about it in the final hour of the Rob Brown Show after Lonzo enlightens, educates, informs, and exhilarates you with his sports flash.
My intros this week have not been good. I think his mind is elsewhere. The Atlanta Braves will start a 4-game. Do better, Rob. The Atlanta Braves will start a 4-game series against. It's not like he has something planned next week or something. Atlanta Braves will start a 4-game series against the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight in Atlanta. Atlanta currently sits one full game back of the New York Mets for the final spot, with the Mets beginning a 3-game series at division-leading Philadelphia. First pitch in Atlanta is set for 7:20 with rookie Spencer Schwellenbach dueling with Landon Knack. The attorney representing former Clemson and current Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson has told the media that a meeting is being scheduled with the NFL to discuss the most recent charge of sexual impropriety. Tony Busby told reporters that the woman filing the report has 2 additional witnesses and a videotape. Hey, tune in tomorrow at 12:30 as the Furman Paladins take on the Stetson Hatters. It's Furman versus Stetson right here on your home for Paladins football. It's us right here, the Fan, upstate. It will be a week and a half, Wesley. So no show for a week and a half starting next Wednesday. So we have a show Monday and Tuesday, and that's it for a little while. I know it sucks. I'm sorry. I mean, he should take as much time off as he can for his wedding and his honeymoon. I'm not saying it for that reason. I'm just saying not having shows is not fun. So.
In Moonville, and in the public's.
It will be quiet around here too. I will also be taking a week off during that. So but I'll be staining my new porch because, you know, that's what I do when I go on vacation. I do work. And I don't believe I've ever stained anything before. So chances are.
That's just painting.
Yeah, but I think I'll stain myself a bit. So be like the one time when I tried spray tanning. It was ugly. Especially around the ankles because it just rolled down. It was really thick and brown around. Did make my eyes pop though. So, I mean, you know. And I was like 20 and svelte. But spray tan in Ohio doesn't mean the same thing as it does other places. All our beaches are creeks.
Music needs more cowbell.
Oh, geez. Bourbon and Bacon Fest.
And for
one more Lord hour to go. He's large. He's mine.
Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Good morning.
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The final hour of the Rob Brown Show starts now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome in. Great to have you. Hope that you are exceptionally well out there, no matter where you are across the upstate of South Carolina. No, I was good with the Becky Black. I was good with the Becky Black. We can roll some Friday. Got to get down on Friday because it is Friday. It's Football Friday.
I just want to give a lesson to all the kids out there. If you fade, never bring the music back in because then it's
very
obvious.
awkward.
It's very obvious that you. So you're welcome.
To all you future executive producers out there, make
Or
it happen.
just a board op like me. So I mean, if you do that sort of thing, you know,
you're just a board op now?
Yeah, that's all I've ever been.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I'm sorry. My mic's on. It was an accident. I'll do better.
We got a lot more we got to get to and talk about through the course of the radio program. We took a look. It's not a spectacular college football schedule coming up this weekend. I mean, it's fine. Alabama, Wisconsin, LSU, South Carolina for sure. Memphis, Florida State is really only interesting in that it is a narrative game, right? Like, is FSU genuinely and truly cooked? Could they drop one to the Memphis Tigers, or is there a way back?
You say it's just a narrative game, and I know you've talked about how much they paid the coach. But if you lose to Memphis, isn't there a shot that they let him go? And I realize the buyout is probably huge, but I'm guessing Florida has money. Florida State.
Florida State actually has one of the most
state of Florida is what I meant, not just, you know.
Florida State has actually one of the most well-funded NIL programs in college football. The money is certainly there. That still doesn't mean that a buyout to Mike Norvell that's north of 18 milli is going to be something they're just, or excuse me, north of annual contract.
So
north of $18
I don't
million
want
is
this
when
to
you just buy out.
happen to anybody, but let's say that Florida State didn't win a game. You still don't think they would get rid of him?
If they go over, yeah, he's gone, as is probably everybody else in that building. If that's not, if Mike Norvell goes, I think probably everybody else in that building goes with him. I don't think that there is a way around that. Do I expect that to happen? No, I don't think that there's a way that Florida State goes season long with 0 wins. But I will tell you that even if they end like 4-8 for Florida State, especially the year after going 13-0 and winning a title game, if they were to go like 4-8 and looking down the schedule, right? Like Memphis all of the sudden doesn't feel like a gimme game. And so we're clear. I do expect Florida State to bounce back this weekend. That was one of my on my Tuesday night hit on BetMGM tonight. Ryan Horvath asked me like, what's your go-to bets for the weekend? And I had 2. It was Bills plus 1.5, and it was Florida State plus or minus 6.5 to bounce back. I think they're probably fine. But Cal beat Auburn. That's not a bad team. I think at this point you have to beat SMU. All right. Like I know I think we all kind of got tricked by SMU, and I wasn't the only one. Like Horvey, big college football guy, he was in on SMU. Lonzo was in on SMU to go to the ACC title game. You got to beat SMU. Turns out they're not that good. Preston Stone just got benched.
Still could happen.
No.
Yeah. No. You don't think so?
No, they're
Okay. All
nowhere near good enough. Neither is Florida State, so that we're clear.
Well, who's the team, and who are the top 2 teams in the ACC then?
Clemson and Miami.
Wait. How many ACC games has Clemson won?
Are you talking about in the standings right now?
I mean, just
the top 3 teams right now. Well, 4 teams technically with 1 win, but one of them has a loss as well. Boston College, Syracuse, Virginia, and Georgia Tech. And I'll be willing to give you right now that field. There ain't but one of those teams that's getting in, and it might be Georgia Tech, but they just lost to Syracuse, so I'm not comfortable. As far as I'm
You're not
concerned,
going to give Syracuse any love just because they got a decent quarterback now.
I like Syracuse a lot. I like Kyle McCord a lot. I got to talk to Kyle McCord at ACC Media Days. I'm all in on this kid. I like their new head coach, Fran Brown, a lot. I talked to him for probably 3 minutes at ACC Media Days, and I was ready to strap on a Rydell helmet and go to war for that cat, but they just don't have the dogs outside of that. There are 22 guys that play. They got a great quarterback, a good running back, decent wide receiver core, and outside of that, they just don't have the talent. The ACC title game is Clemson and Miami. I'll book that right now.
All right, I get to Miami. I'm still not sold on Clemson yet. We'll see what they do when they face a team other than App State.
I mean, that's fair.
Georgia was Georgia. Yes,
Georgia was
should
Georgia.
not have lost the way that they did. They should have done what they did to App State. Now let's see what happens when they get into the meat of the ACC schedule.
I mean, I like to think they clicked. We'll find out. But it's just not a great college football slate this way. I mean, any college football is good college football, but it's not a great slate. Boston College at Mizzou is a top 25 matchup. Oregon at Oregon State is only interesting in that, is Oregon going to get right, or did I just dramatically overestimate them? Notre Dame at Purdue is interesting in that this is a chance that I got to think Purdue's probably licking the chops, and Marcus Freeman went from a guy that Notre Dame fans were all in with over the last couple of years to a guy that all of a sudden may very well be on the hot seat just like that after a loss to Northern Illinois. A&M at Florida. I mean, I guess that one's kind of interesting. A&M wants to bounce back from the loss against Notre Dame. Florida, Billy Napier is coaching for his job at this point. Billy Napier may not make it out of the season. All right. That's the spot that they're in. So I'm interested in that one to some degree. Looking down the rest of the schedule, as far as games that are important and jump out, Ole Miss at Wake Forest, this is really going to be, I think this is really going to be the first, I didn't want to say big test for Ole Miss, but it's the first Power 4 game they've played. They've dropped the 76 spot on Furman. They dropped the 52 spot on Middle Tennessee State. This is the first Power 4 football game. It ain't against the good team, but it is the best step up in talent we've seen. So is Jackson Dart going to be able to keep that business going? Georgia's at Kentucky. Is there any interest in that one? A lot of people obviously off on Kentucky after they lost to South Carolina this weekend, but Mark Stoops has got to think right now. That dude went from being celebrated by his fan base to people asking, is he the guy or not? And I think Kentucky's got to at least show up. You got Colorado State at 7:30. I'm only interested in that one because I think Colorado State's winning that game. That is my upset pool game for the wire to wire with Diesel and Bumpers upset game that they're playing. I'm going Colorado State -7. Minus 7.5 over or +7 over Colorado. So that one's interesting to me. Outside of that, like no real night games to jump all over. The 10:30 games aren't that great. It's just not a great slate. It's a good enough slate. I'm obviously going to be looking.
So what you're saying is UFC's on the big TV Saturday.
Oh yeah,
night.
yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
All right.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good card. It's a good card up against a weak college football card. So yeah, I would be comfortable saying that it is a good card. So the answer is yes. Texture said, Rob, bro, look up Georgia's schedule real quick. How hard is it going to be for them to win all them games? We'll see. They got Kentucky this week, and then they're at Alabama next week. I'm not worried about Kentucky. So that we are very clear, I haven't believed in Kentucky under Mark Stoops. A lot of Kentucky fans did. A lot of SEC fans believed this team was taking the next step. I haven't believed in Kentucky yet. I don't see it out of Mark Stoops. I think Mark Stoops is I don't want to say in over his head because I think he's a fine coach, but I don't think he's elevate a middle of the pack SEC team towards the upper echelon coach. So I think Georgia's going to roll Kentucky. I think Georgia's better than Alabama, and you guys know I like Alabama. In fact, I picked Alabama as my conference champion in the Southeastern Conference. I'm not going to weasel my way out of staying with that. I picked them. I'm going to ride that horse till it falls out. But I do think right now Georgia football is just it's a level higher than Alabama's right now. I think that'll be a game. Auburn, they're fine. They lost to Cal. Mississippi State's no good. The stretch you got to worry about if you're Georgia is at Texas on October 19th, in Jacksonville against Florida. And again, I'm not worried about Florida, but that is one of those weird rivalry games. Then you're at Ole Miss and back home for Tennessee. The teams I think can beat Georgia would be Alabama on their best day and Georgia has a bad day. Texas, I think, can beat Georgia, but I think it would take a pretty spectacular showing. Like, I think Texas is good. I think Texas is better than I gave them credit for preseason. I don't think they're as good as Georgia. And frankly, I'm worried about Tennessee. Ole Miss, I'm still working on getting a gauge on.
So in order for my prediction for SEC to come true, Texas will have to beat Georgia.
Yours was Texas to win it.
Yes.
No, because I think Texas can lose that game, still win out, make it to the title game, and have another crack at Georgia. By the way, right now, just so we're clear, the ESPN analytics right now give Georgia a 40% chance of beating Texas, give Texas a 60% chance of beating Georgia. So ESPN actually likes Texas over Georgia right now. And that game is in Texas. It is in Austin. So that one's interesting. I just don't think, I thought Georgia was going to take a big step. I do think they've taken a step back from last year, the last couple of years. I just don't think it's quite as big of a step back as I give them credit. I thought the loss of guys like Brock Bowers and some of those offensive linemen was going to be a big blow to them. And so far they've been just fine without him. So we'll see. We'll see. That's a great look. I don't know what direction that's going to go, but I do think that the game of the weekend is taking place in the Cola. I do think the game of the weekend is LSU at South Carolina. And again, I said earlier in the show, it's because of the storylines wrapped into both of these teams. The storyline being, I am telling you, as somebody with a nationally syndicated show, the perception of Shane Beamer outside of the area is that South Carolina is to some degree a dog and pony show. The perception about this team is that South Carolina is a team that is largely built on show and not substance. And considering LSU has largely had South Carolina's number. And I don't think that somebody said that to me yesterday. I was on an LSU pod last night, and one of the fans popped up and said, oh, sometimes a team's just got your number. LSU's just got South Carolina's number. And it's like, yeah, but like, are we forgetting the LSU teams before Brian Kelly? Are we forgetting the fact that you're including Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and some of those names in that mix? Like, of course they have. You know who else's number LSU had for a while there? Everybody's. Like, yeah, but it's a team that has taken a step backwards. That is a team I'm comfortable saying has taken a step backwards. So the narrative for South Carolina is this is an opportunity for Shano to prove that what he's doing in Columbia ain't a dog and pony show, that this really is a program that is getting better, that is improving, that is on its way up. And this win, I think, I'm not going to say, oh, this win does that, but it damn sure lights the fuse, right? And you'll still have to, moving forward, you'll still have to have a real good set of games ahead of you. But this would be, to me, this would be the biggest win. And I am including a win over Clemson. This would be the biggest win of Shane Beamer's career.
This is a building block on the way to belief. So if you win LSU, then suddenly you believe as a player, as a team, as a fan base, that maybe this team can win some games that they should not be able to win or supposedly should not have been able to win at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think it's fair. And that's the narrative. And again, don't it takes two to tango. There's a narrative over there for LSU as well. LSU's lost 3 consecutive season openers. They haven't been to the playoffs under Brian Kelly. Like, the belief on the other side is that Brian Kelly's leash is pretty short right now. And especially when you combine the fact that he has not won the games LSU's expected him to win, and he's out there putting video of him grabbing his kicker and berating his kicker for missing a long field goal. A thing that happens.
You know who that sounds like? That reminds me of some other coach that was berating his kicker. One of your favorite coaches of all time, I believe.
Oh, you talking about Herb?
Yeah, because remember, a lot came out about him berating his kicker.
For the record. Well, what came out about Herb was that he physically assaulted his kicker, right? But, again, I want to be clear. I don't like Brian Kelly as a dude or a coach. I'm not a fan.
I mean, he does get a lot of hype, but really, what has he done?
Yeah. I don't like Brian Kelly as a coach or as a dude. So I will say that as somebody with a lot of connections down in Louisiana, there is a narrative here. If Brian Kelly loses this game, Brian Kelly immediately goes on the hot seat, and it could be the South Carolina Gamecocks that put him there. The narrative is big for LSU here as well. This isn't just a game that only matters to one team. It matters heavily to both. So that's why this is the game of the weekend. And it's not because it's a team that we cover, and it's not because, Clemson's off. It's because this is a narrative game. Shane Beamer wins this game. And I think the narrative about Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks begins to change nationwide. Shane Beamer loses this game, and I don't think it does. Everybody's going to go, yeah, well, they beat Kentucky because Kentucky sucks, right? They beat Kentucky because Kentucky stinks, not because South Carolina's good. And LSU just proved that. Like I said, I'll put it this way, and then we got to get to a break. The outcome of this game, to me, there's only 2 possibilities, right? Usually for a game, you go, there's 3 possibilities. You look real good, you look real bad, or meh. You walk out of there as a close game and you go, all right, close game, what are you going to do? It's hit or miss for South Carolina here. You either walk out of here with the eyes of the nation on you, College Game Day broadcasting from Columbia. You either walk out of here with the country going, maybe the Gamecocks are for real. Maybe we should be paying attention to this team now. Maybe we should be giving them a little respect. Or you walk out of here with the eyes of the nation focused upon you, with the nation going, yeah, it's not that South Carolina's back. It's just that Kentucky sucks, right? It's just Kentucky sucks. That guy down there coaching that team really is more about the culture building than he is about fielding a good football team. And that's the only 2 possibilities to me. So with that being the reality here, this is the biggest pressure game of Shane Beamer's career. Not Clemson. All right? Not Clemson. This one. I won't be doing anything but watching. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we'll take a look at our NFL schedule for the weekend, give you some thoughts, picks, predictions, prognostications, and selections when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Urban.
All right, guys, one more read and we're back. Stay right there for me.
I mean, I would do it every once in a while, but I kind of feel bad afterwards. So,
I forgot Kevin in there. Damn. They didn't reach out. I blanked it.
that's a good question, James. I can't answer that for him. We also did not predict the game. I don't think you said who you thought was going to win between LSU and South Carolina.
I don't know.
Okay.
The prediction that I gave yesterday was it's either going to be like 27-24 South Carolina or 35-10 LSU.
South Carolina gets up early, they win the game, especially if it's a big defensive play, and because just the crowd alone will help will them to a win, I think. I wonder what the weather's going to be like.
crappy, which is honestly, it's good. Because I don't want Garrett Nussmeier getting comfortable throwing the ball. He can sling it.
So I'm gonna record the Ohio State game and watch it later, and watch the South Carolina game live because Ohio State's playing Marshall.
Sort of GoFundMe to get Lonzo a second TV.
I do have a second TV, but I have like 4 or 5 TVs. I may actually have more TVs than you. I have some TVs that are just laying around we're not using. So, but there's no sense in having 2 TVs on and 2 games on at the same time when you can just watch the other game later. Especially since we don't talk sports on my Saturday show and we won't be talking again until Monday. So, I mean,
Are you an LSU fan? I grew up an LSU fan because all my family went there. I was actually going to go to LSU. And then I got an email telling me how much it was going to cost to go to LSU. And then I didn't go to LSU. Take a look up and down your National Football League slate for the weekend. Got some interesting games lined up this weekend. Of course, we started off last night with a 31-10 demo job of the Miami Dolphins by the Buffalo Bills. The Bills they just own the Dolphins at this point, right? They just own the Dolphins at this point. We kick it off tomorrow at 1 p.m. The New Orleans Saints on the road at the Dallas Cowboys. A battle betwixt 2 teams that both have to explain if they're legitimate or not, right? Both of these teams got massive week 1 victories. Dallas went to Cleveland, beat the hell out of the Browns. New Orleans stayed at home, beat the hell out of the Panthers. And the big question of every show that I've been on this week is New Orleans for real? Is Dallas for real? Or do they benefit from playing crap teams? And the answer to me is, I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know.
What does it do for your belief as a New Orleans fan if they were able to go in there and knock off Dallas and knock them off convincingly?
They beat Dallas. I look at them and go, that's a divisional threat. Not winner, because Tampa looked real good in week 1 too, right? But I go, that's a divisional threat. That's a team that can win a division title. It is a team that must, if they go to Dallas and beat Dallas, then I look at them as a team that I go, wow, they're going to the wild card if they beat Dallas.
So that shows you believe in Dallas quite a bit too.
I do. I think that, but again, that's not new. Dallas always has a spectacular regular season and then craps the bed in the playoffs. That's the narrative. Everybody, the narrative is they lose in the playoffs, not the regular season.
Well, Dak did do that thing that a lot of players don't do. He got paid and then went out and actually played well. It seems like more times than not, a player gets a lot of money and then they just kind of dog it.
I mean, we can't pretend like Dak Prescott last year didn't have one of the best regular seasons of any quarterback in the damn league. He's good. It's just not, they're just not clutch in the playoffs. So this game's interesting because there's a chance that one or both or neither of these teams walk away from this game proving anything. We'll find out. Tampa's at Detroit. How about this one? Detroit's favored by 7.5 over Tampa. Despite what Tampa did to the Commanders last week, Baker Mayfield looked like Baker last week. They are still 7.5 points to Detroit.
Come on, man. You got to do it. I mean, you got to.
Baker!
I was going to say, you got to have some still in there.
He looked like a dog last week. Like he got that dog in him. Which is interesting because, again, the question mark there was not statement that it would, but the question mark was, without Dave Canales, is Baker going to go be Baker or is he going to be able to run it back? And again, it's only 1 week, but he ran it back in week 1. So this game's very interesting as well. Game 1. I'm going Dallas at home to beat New Orleans.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I would, for your sake, I would like to, what a wedding gift that would be for you if they were actually able to beat Dallas.
Well, the good news is the wedding's next weekend, so I don't have to be sad boy on wedding weekend.
Yeah, but it will be the last New Orleans game before you get married.
That is also true. It would be a hell of a gift. Derek Carr, if you're listening, just remember who's been saying for 2 years now that you're a future first ballot Hall of Famer. If you want to send a gift, you can just go beat Dallas. I'd be good with that. Because there will be Cowboy fans in attendance, and I would love to be able to. You get it. Give me Detroit over Tampa at home, by the way, too. I like Baker a lot. I like what Baker's doing a lot, but I think Detroit was a little bit disappointed in their performance against the Rams last weekend, and I think they're better than they showed. Sam Laporta gets involved because the vulnerability of that Tampa Bay defense is the seam route, and nobody runs it better than Laporta. Detroit wins this game. They are 7.5 point favorites.
Yeah, I think Detroit wins too, but this has potential to be a really good game. I just hope it's very watchable because I think it could be.
I think Tampa overperformed week 1. I don't think they're as good as they looked.
We'll see.
We will. Indy is at Green Bay. Malik getting the start for the Packers in this one as they host their first home game. The Colts coming to town. Anthony Richardson, really interesting week last week because on one hand, he had a couple of outstanding throws. On the other hand, he had a bunch of not great ones. I think the opposite of Bryce, right? I've been talking about it all week. Everybody wants to hone in on the 2 Bryce mistakes, but not the 6 or 7 really good Bryce throws. Opposite for Anthony Richardson. Everybody's dialed in on the really impressive throws and just kind of flat out ignored the fact that he made a lot of throws that were very questionable. But again, no preseason football for Anthony Richardson. Got to get into the groove a little bit. With Malik at the helm, all due respect, give me the Colts to go get the upset win. Well, I guess not really upset. They're actually favored by 2.5.
Yeah, I think Indy will win, but I don't know that there's as much of a drop-off as you think in Green Bay. I
From Jordan Love to Malik?
Yeah, I think Jordan Love is a little overhyped.
I mean, I think he's overhyped too, but it's Malik. All due respect. Tennessee Titan hosting the New York Jets. This one's in Nashville, Tennessee. The Jets on the road for the second time as they head down to Music City, USA. Upset call of the week. Give me the Titans at home. They are dogs in this one.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think the Jets go 0-2.
We'll find out. It's not a primetime game, and that's the best thing the Jets have going for them because they stink in the primetime. San Francisco is at Minnesota. Sam Darnold looked like a wagon in week number 1. Will he be able to run it back in week number 2? No, 49ers by 50.
Okay, you have to explain the wagon thing. You say you look like a wagon?
Look like a wagon.
What's that mean?
It's just a new age phrase for he looked real good.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Not being new age. You don't have crystals, do you? The new age has crystals.
No, the hippies have crystals.
No,
and they always have.
I disagree. I think new age has crystals, but you would know since you're new age. Okay, so I'll take your word for it. Yeah, I agree with you on this game.
San Francisco by a whole lot of points. Let's keep going. Seattle is at New England. New England beat a hampered, depleted, busted up Bengals team. I'm not worried about that loss from Cincinnati, nor that win for New England. Seattle, 3.5 point favorites. I'm going to take them and the cover in this one.
Yeah.
New England's bad. They got lucky. New York, the G-Man at Washington. Jaden Daniels gets his first win. The Washington Commanders are 1.5 point favorites in this one. I am going to say that they not only win, but they cover and they cover easily. Danny Dimes is getting straight up assaulted and battered by Giants fans for leaving the stadium. I think the confidence is destroyed in the G-Man. Love you, Chris Lewis. Sorry, buddy. Jaden Daniels pops off and looks like a stud this weekend. Give me the Commanders at home to win and cover.
All right, first of all, New Age movement used crystals as a tool for spiritual healing. I'm sorry that I knew that, okay, but I looked it up anyway, and I think the Giants get a win. I have no there's no reason why they should win, but I think Danny has a good game.
You're just hating on Jaden Daniels, that's all. And also, the crystals don't do anything. They're just pretty rocks.
No, listen. I agree with you, but I was right about the thing. So that's
again. All. The hippies have been using crystals since the days of CCR. All right. No, it's not a new age thing. It's an old thing.
Okay, so the internet lied. Okay.
Chargers at Panthers. LA 5 point favorites on the road at Carolina. I will take the Chargers to win, but the Panthers to cover and show that they're trending upward.
What'd you say the line was again?
Chargers -5.
Yeah, no way they cover. Yeah, the Chargers win.
Chargers win, but does Carolina
No,
cover
Carolina does not cover.
Okay, they don't cover? So you think they're getting blown out again?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we'll find out. I'll take the cover. Cleveland is at Jacksonville. Everbank Stadium down in Jacksonville, Florida, the butthole of America. The Jags 3 point favorites in this one. If they start Deshaun Watson, give me Trevor Lawrence to cover this one up easy in a battle of former Clemson quarterbacks.
I think it's a coin flip. But I'll go with Jacksonville.
I don't. I think Jacksonville's not bad. I think they got beat by Miami last weekend. They will beat Cleveland. This one will be convincing. The Baltimore Ravens hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. The Ravens a 9 point favorite. They shan't be happy about what happened in Kansas City, Missouri, back in week 1. Ravens by 1,000.
I just want to see if white shoes are worn. I think that would be funny. But yeah, Baltimore wins.
Isaiah Likely in the white tap dance shoes
Listen,
from now on.
Patrick Mahomes' advice: wear white shoes. He's right.
Ain't wrong. Let's go to State Farm Stadium out in Glendale, Arizona. That's where the Cardinals will be hosting the LA Rams. Arizona is favored in this game. Why? Give me the Rams to cover. You're giving me a point in this one? I'll take it.
Arizona looked good until they lost, right?
Arizona looked...
Because they were up by a bunch, weren't they? If I recall.
17-3, 17-7?
Yeah, they were up by a bunch. So that means they're capable of scoring.
Oh, I think they're going to be better than people expected.
I'm still going with the Rams.
Yes, correct. I just think, are we pretending the Rams didn't go to Detroit, which might be the best home field advantage in football this year, and take the Lions to OT? The NFC second shortest odds to make the Super Bowl to OT? Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams to cover that up. Easy call for that one and me. Pittsburgh is at Denver in a 425 showdown. Justin Fields expected to get his second start up against Bo Nix. This is the worst thing in the world for Russell Wilson because the Steelers are going to go beat the Broncos in this game, and then there's going to be a quarterback controversy that there should not be.
Dude, there's no controversy. The starting quarterback is who's probably going to start the entire season is starting this week.
Russell Wilson's getting that job back when he's not injured.
No, he's not. You said he would start. I won this one. But yeah, Pittsburgh wins. Hey, I don't get very many wins or ones that you allow me to have. So you need to give me this one.
If this was Vegas, they wouldn't accept your bet because he didn't lose the job. He got the job by injury.
This is daggum Greenville, South Carolina.
Are we going to pretend that Justin Fields looked great last weekend en route to 6 field goals?
You know who he looked better than? Russell Wilson.
Okay. Cincinnati is at Kansas City. Kansas City 5.5-point favorites. I don't think Joey B is in trouble like everybody else does. He is in trouble in that they're going to Arrowhead for another Kansas City back-to-back home game. Give me the Bengals, give me the Chiefs to cover 5.5.
You might have been right in the first one because Joe Burrow, I think, is 4-1 against Kansas City.
Don't care.
I mean, and you know, the Burrowhead thing is still a thing.
That is true. Forgot about Burrowhead.
But it also makes the Kansas City people angry. It's going to be a close game. You know why? Because it's Kansas City, but Kansas City wins.
Do they cover 5.5?
No.
And we wrap it up on a Sunday night game. Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud getting it together. The Chicago Bears on the road at the Houston Texans. Houston is favored by 6.5 in this one.
That's disrespectful, I think.
To whomst? Caleb Williams? I agree.
Okay. Who are you picking?
Give me Chicago in the outright win.
Are you serious?
Give me Chicago in the outright win.
All right. This is okay.
I think this is shock weekend for every rookie quarterback that's not Bo Nix.
Come on, dude. Come on. I mean,
okay.
Come on.
Houston
wins this.
See you Monday morning. One way or the damn other.
Well, hopefully, yeah. I mean, at least come to work 2 days next week. I mean, you know.
We'll see how I feel about it. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
Who's getting angry, James? I'm worried about this game. The fact that Joe Burrow seems to have Kansas City's number. I mean, remember the year they didn't go to the Super Bowl? Cincinnati is the one who beat them. So, I mean, and according to statistics, Joe Burrow does not win game 1 of the season. So they're due for a bounce back, and I'm worried. A loss will not be the end of the world, but it also would not be that big of a surprise unless Cincinnati came in there and just destroyed them, which happened. You know, the Raiders did that on Christmas last year, and you see what happened after that. So,
The mirror mentioned they actually. Well, Lonzo does. Can't say nice things about other teams. It's not allowed.
I don't know.
Disrespectful.
I don't know what you guys are hearing. I just said that I'm worried about this game. I don't think they can fix selective hearing. I don't think there's a hearing aid for that. there was, I'd ask you to tell me about it, but I wouldn't hear it. Someone asked Joe Hendry to help them name their cat. And his answer was
Joe Hendry.
Exactly.
Correct. That is a brand. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
I think it was Tuesday. Picked a granddaughter up and she said, "Can we listen to Joe Hendry?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, yeah.
Also, I know we haven't talked about it, but a little guitar riff kind of shreds.
It does. It does. What is he doing, the Hulk Hogan, or is he actually playing that riff? I don't know.
He's Joe Hendry. I believe in him.
Yeah.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
I heard that song sitting at the red light before I got on the Woodruff Road this morning, and I did the clap thing. That was a mistake for me, since my wrist is messed up from bowling yesterday. But I had to do it anyway. You cannot listen to that song and not do that, even if it hurts. Silver does that. It's awesome.
Oh.
Partnering with Scale Marketing means gaining a dedicated strategist and a team committed to your success. If you're ready to lead the market, visit scalemarketing.com today. That's scalemarketing.com.
Blum, 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 blum.
My wife just texted me and said I brainwashed our grandchild into loving Joe Hendry. But she also asked me, why does grandma not like Joe Hendry?
Why does grandma not like Joe
And
Hendry?
and I said, I don't know why.
Grandma
I
not
can't
believe in
explain
Joe
it.
Hendry?
She does not believe in Joe Hendry.
Miss Lisa.
That's next week, isn't it, Trey? Or is that tonight? I think it's the 21st. No.
No, it's the 27th. It's the Saturday night before
No,
I come back.
it's on Friday and Saturday.
It's that weekend I come
Yeah.
back.
I was going to say, I thought that I was off, and I am. So it's a possible, very big possibility if tickets are available that I still go to the Friday one. You won't think it's funny, probably. Snoop Dogg, due to recent events, I must cancel my show in Springfield, Ohio.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. There's all these people remixing that.
Oh,
into
the cats memes are so
They're
awesome,
hilarious.
though. I mean,
Really funny. Rat, son of a
yes,
mother.
we are now tied. Haha.
Damn it.
I whoop somebody's ass and let's do what we gotta do.
That's very frustrating.
You did that to yourself.
I'm very frustrating.
You know, remember the one time I got to like the last break. I mean, the last segment and did it. You're pretty close, though.
This is the last segment. I waited. I've 28-3 myself.
You're right. It is the last segment. I have no concept of time.
Carolina, LA, Sunday, the bank. What do we expect?
Do you hate? Does it ever bother you? Do you dread watching a football game? because you have a rooting interest in a team and you know that they're bad and you want them to be better, but you just got a feeling that they're going to have the other team's going to have like 400 yards of rushing offense against a defense. That's my concern. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to go through like 4 running backs. He's just going to pick a receiver and turn them into a running back too. I'm worried about this game.
I am not, but I believe that disappointment or being impressed is largely predicated on your expectations, right?
Okay, so you didn't go intelligence. I was a little worried there.
Yeah.
Because obviously, knower of ball as opposed to
big
casual.
One. Big one.
So,
big one. Big one. Big knower of ball. PhD in ball knowing. Your disappointment or your being impressed by anything, circumstance, situation, entity, whatever, is predicated on your expectations about that thing.
Would eventually they'd pay us to go to the games? I mean, is that possible?
Your Tepper checks in the mail.
Yeah. You want to pay me $5 to go? I'll go. Let's go.
So the question mark is, what's your expectation for this game? And for the record, I don't accept be competitive. That's not good enough for me. What does that look like? What is be competitive? What does it mean?
You know what I'll settle for? And it doesn't really matter, but I would settle for no turnovers. I mean, that would be,
That's great.
I think that would be a step in the right direction.
Sure.
And I'm not just talking about from Bryce Young, but from the Panthers, period. No turnovers. I mean, you can get some turnovers from the Chargers, but don't commit any turnovers yourself.
I think that is an admirable expectation. I think it is an empirical one. It is one that we can get back here on Monday and we can look and go, okay, they achieved that. I do think that, again, sometimes turnovers have to be taken in context. Who was it? I was watching the game last night, and they got to halftime. Tua had been picked off twice at that point. The first interception that, quote, he threw, end quote, hit a receiver right in the damn hands, and he bobbled it.
Well, I mean, I get it, but he did throw it.
I mean, again, he threw it, but when you say he threw an interception, to me, that's putting the blame on the quarterback. All he did was hit my man between the numbers in the hands, and the guy bobbled. I don't remember who it was. Was it Waddle maybe? Hit him in the hands. He bobbled it up into the air. Should have been a clean catch and a first down. Instead, it pops up into the air. Buffalo gets the pick. And so I do think the context matters, right? Like everybody, and they went to halftime, and Herb Street was like, it's a shaky start from Tua Tagovailoa. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was actually a pretty good start from Tua Tagovailoa. Tua had 2 picks in the first half. Both of them were on the receiver. Both of them. This is why Rob Brown has invented the NHF INT, the not his fault interception. They're a quarterback, when you look at the box score. That's
where you're going later, the box score.
Yeah, it is actually. When you look at the box score of a football game, it should say QB name. It should say attempts completion. It should say yardage. It should say touchdown. It should say INT. It should say NHF INT. We should keep track of the not his fault interceptions. Those are the interceptions like, I don't know, you hit a receiver between the numbers in the hands and he bobbles it up into the air and it's picked off. That ain't on the quarterback. It should be when you have Robbie Chosen, as a practice squad guy who has to be on the field because you're out of bodies, who just very clearly runs the wrong damn route.
I was wondering the other day if he was still in the NFL.
He is.
Thank you for confirming that.
That's who was running around last night when Tua looked out to the right, recognized that he was going to have a double combo route that was out there that was going to have Robbie Chosen running a stop on the right-hand side, and I believe Waddle on the inside running a go route, which in that spot, theoretically, you're going to have Robbie on the outside running a go route and was going to have Waddle running a stop route underneath him. And what that should have done is it should have held the cornerback It should have held the cornerback. It should have had the deep side safety roll over to go with the go route that Robbie Anderson was going to run. But what ended up happening instead was both receivers out there ran a stop route, and Tua threw it as if it was going to be a go route, which if Robbie Chosen would have run it, it would have been open. But Robbie turned and sat down in the hole. Tua flung it out to where the go route would have been. And because the cornerback wasn't threatened, he just ran over to it and picked it off. Tua Tagovailoa had 3 picks. 2 of them were NHFs, not his faults. And that's the kind of stuff that drives me up a wall. So the point here is, to circle back to the beginning, whether or not you are impressed or disheartened is almost exclusively going to be predicated on what your expectations were, right? If I tell you tomorrow you get a winning lottery ticket and you didn't expect to get a lottery ticket, your $250 winning lottery ticket feels real good. But if I was to tell you you're going to win the lottery tomorrow and you've spent all your money on Powerball tickets, and then I hand you a $250 prize, you're going to be like, oh, all right. So my question is, what expectations do you have for Carolina? Lonzo says no picks, which I think is a fair, or excuse me, no turnovers, which I think is a very fair one. It is hard to empirically prove, but I'll tell you how I can get a gauge or not about whether there's fight out of a team. I need to see the offensive and defensive line win the line of scrimmage. I know you don't have Derek Brown. You don't have Derek Brown the rest of the year. You got a decent set of ends out there, Jadeveon Clowney being one of them.
Whoop somebody's ass and let's do what we got to do.
To me, I got to see Carolina win the scrimmage battle. I got to see the run yardage of LA, held to under 4 yards a carry, 4.5 yards a carry, and I got to see Carolina's over that mark. If I see that, shows me they got some fight. My expectations are compete. I don't particularly care about the win or the loss. I care that at the end of the game, I can come on here Monday and go, proud of the way that team fought. Now let's clean up the X's and O's. I think getting the mentality right comes first.
And now the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
You almost got me, by the way. I just realized my mic wasn't on before I hit the sounder, and I looked over. I was like, oh, that was a near miss. All right, the first thing is Xing. And I got to tell you, the way I wrote it, I thought it said Paul Newman because my writing's so bad. I was like, why is Paul Newman trending? But it's Paul Heyman.
You played yourself? That's pretty impressive.
No, I just can't write.
I have no idea why Paul Heyman is trending. I'm going to be honest. I haven't been on Twitter a lot this morning.
All right.
So a lot of these are going to be guesses.
So tonight, the only confirmed match for SmackDown is the first one, a cage match between Cody and
Brock Lesnar.
The tribal chief, the current tribal chief.
Really?
So the reason why it is trending is people believe that that's him.
The OTC?
Not only him, but the true bloodline returns. I don't know who that is, but yes.
It's only him, unless they're going to pair him up with Rocky again. But
Jimmy.
Oh, that's true.
Been missing for a while.
You do a Jimmy. I mean, that's true.
And there's another brother who I believe they signed and is not a part of the bloodline.
There is one more.
Yes.
There's a lot.
And who knows? Maybe Jay shows up.
That's fair.
Or maybe Sammy shows up. Who knows?
Sammy is an honorary Oos from the OG bloodline.
And keep in mind what's coming here pretty soon.
What is next? I don't even know what's next.
So I believe it's
Hell in a Cell?
Yeah. Well, that is. But I mean, after that will be Survivor Series. I think.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
which is 100% going to be
War Games.
OTC v. Yeah.
Without a doubt. Okay. So hopefully that happens tonight. And they have a new home. They're on USA now. So no longer on Fox because Fox is, I guess, going to start playing football games.
Yep.
On Friday nights.
I believe you are correct.
The next thing, Xing, speaking of football, he may not be awake right now, but Al Michaels is Xing.
I am going to say, because I beat the hell out of Al Michaels all last year, it felt better last night, right? Felt like maybe he had a stern talking to. Al, we're paying you $100 million a year to call one game a week. Maybe wake up, like maybe show up. It felt like he was more there, and I sincerely I do wonder if Herbie was in his ear a little bit, like, "Hey, dude, come on, man! Like you're hurting me now at this point."
Or maybe he taught his dog to growl at Al when he tries to drink some more.
That's
when he's reaching for that glass, the dog is growling, and he's like, "Okay, that's enough." So he had. I think it's a mix of a little bit, but
Sure.
He is getting paid a lot of money to be at least somewhat interesting. All right. And finally, the last thing that's Xing is Friday the 13th.
It is Friday the 13th, and it is also, ladies and gentlemen, it is also the first the last Friday, got to get down on Friday that I will be with you this month. We will return.
I mean, I know it's we are too.
Okay.
I'm not going to be here either. So, I mean,
you will be here.
No, I won't.
Oh, you're not coming in?
Dude, they do it well.
I mean, I thought you were in next week on vacation the week after that.
I'm in for like a day next week.
Yeah, okay. Well, we will be here Monday. We will be here Tuesday. Then we will be off Wednesday all the way until the end of the month. So,
You always make me feel so important.
Really, flattery is what I'm best at.
You are so good at it.
Making everybody else feel very special.
Even though you lost the game.
You son of a...
Make sure you tune in tonight to Bumpers.
Wire to Wire with Diesel and Bumpers from 3 to 7 this afternoon. And then Bet for the Cycle tomorrow, noon to 4 on the BetQL Network. Y'all have a great football weekend. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. We'll see you back here on Monday to do it all over again and hopefully be better on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Later.
I really don't give a
All right, that's it for us, dudes. Thanks for being here. Wesley, it is the last Friday show in September because, like I said, I'm out the next 2 Fridays on Weddingcation. And then, we'll be back after that and go from there.
Maybe.
That's very fair. Painfully fair. Anyway, I hope you all have a spectacular weekend. And we'll see you back here on Monday. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. Have a good one. Goodbye.